Earth football, Cristiano Ronaldo thought I would go assist him. Hello again, dear adventurers of the multiverse. Thanks for joining us once more on this epic journey. Remember, this story is pure science fiction from our wild imagination. So don't go trying to summon dragons in your backyard. The rights of this amazing novel belong entirely to its original author. We are only the narrators. Do you want more adventures? Show some love to our YouTube channel with a subscription and a like. And if you want exclusive content, our Patreon is waiting for you with open arms. Chapter 276 The Only Weakness of Sporting Lisbon. Matthäus is back in form, his skills undiminished in the Portuguese league. This hat-trick proves he's still at his peak. 5-0. Sporting Lisbon is too strong, just one game and they've shown everyone their chances of qualifying for the Europa League. Drogba stared in disbelief at the goal. Was this a tacit agreement? Was it possible that Matthäus hadn't considered the possibility of Drogba tilting his head? Did he shoot with a thought, even though it's likely to headbutt Drogba, what if the ball goes around me? This was playing like he was playing against his own player. Drogba felt heavy-hearted. Not only did he fail to score, but he almost got headbutted. He felt he was getting closer and closer to the bench. Sure enough. After the goal, Trigueira used his last substitution. Ibrahimovic replaced Drogba. Well done. Trigueira patted Drogba on the shoulder after he came off. Maximo then sat down with Drogba, praising him for a long time, and finally remarked with regret that he hadn't scored, otherwise it would have been perfect. But Drogba only remembered the comment, "It's a pity he didn't score." He thought Maxi was referring to him. A striker who can't score isn't a good striker. Had his position in Trigueira's coaching staff dropped again? Drogba was filled with anxiety. On the other side, Ibrahimovic, who had just been substituted on, was a bit too eager to succeed. He immediately tried to use some fancy footwork to break into the penalty area. But Gaziantep wouldn't tolerate that kind of behavior. Quaresma had been tackled. How could such a big guy like him escape? He made a sliding tackle. Luckily, he got to the ball first and completed a beautiful interception. Gaziantep immediately launched a counter-attack, moving the ball to the edge of Sporting Lisbon's penalty area with 4 passes. Pepe lost his position while moving, and Fonte was too slow to cover, giving the opponent a chance to score. A decisive blow, 1-5. Gaziantep pulled one back. Neither side scored again after that, and the score remained 1-5. Sporting Lisbon secured another resounding victory, especially for Lothar Matthäus, who enjoyed a truly exhilarating experience. As a result, the UEFA Cup group stage, which usually receives little attention, has been widely covered by European media, particularly the German media, which are practically going crazy. Bild, Matthäus scores a hat-trick. 3 goals and 1 assist lead Sporting Lisbon's young team to their first European win. Kicker, Bayern loses in the Champions League, Matthäus wins in the Europa League. Whose fault is it that Matthäus left Bayern? We should reflect on this. Transfermarkt, the European Championship defeat is not Matthäus's fault, the fundamental reason is the lack of talent in Germany. Matthäus's current performance still justifies his multi-million-dollar price tag. Der Spiegel, Sporting Lisbon's 5-1 victory, Matthäus single-handedly carries half of Sporting Lisbon's success. Matthäus's fans finally got their revenge. They've been criticized since last winter's transfer window. First Bayern fans criticized him, then German fans criticized him. Now Matthäus has finally proven his innocence. It wasn't that Matthäus was incompetent, he simply couldn't carry the German team. However, perhaps because the topic of Matthäus's resurgence was generating so much buzz, the performances of the others weren't highlighted much. Especially Drogba. Matthäus's pass, his dribble was brilliant. But unfortunately, his movement was far from brilliant, it even looked very flustered. It gave the impression that he wanted to control the ball but failed. And then there was Matthäus's final shot. Drogba's hunched over appearance was incredibly pathetic. Matthäus was as imposing as Drogba was pathetic. This made Drogba, reading the news, blush with shame. So embarrassing. September 21st, Portuguese League Round 3. Sporting Lisbon drew 3-3 with Extremadura. Duncan and Viana both provided assists. Terry scored a header. Ronaldo scored twice. Quaresma's absence due to injury clearly had a significant impact on the team. When both wings are attacking, the big circle tactic truly deserves the title of sacred. Without it, it easily becomes a mere high. While Ronaldo's 2 goals were respectable, he also squandered many opportunities. Without those 2 goals, his rating would definitely be among the bottom 3 in the team. Font would be last, followed by Schmeichel. On September 27, in the 4th round of the Portuguese League, Sporting Lisbon defeated Salgueiros 4-1. Quaresma, returning from injury, contributed a goal and an assist. Viana, in excellent form, also scored and assisted. Ronaldo scored in consecutive matches. Ibrahimovic scored as a substitute. Duncan provided a clever assist. Drogba, since the start of the new season, has failed to score in 5 matches, starting 4, experiencing the worst goal drought of his career. At this point, involution occurs. When a team seems flawless, while people praise them, they naturally look for players who underperform. Didier Drogba, the only player in the midfield and forward line who hadn't scored, became the focus of media criticism. Many fans even suggested that Sporting Lisbon would be stronger if Drogba were replaced. While everyone has stopped mentioning the issue of Duncan and Ronaldo ousting Jardel due to their phenomenal performances, 3 goals and 8 assists in 5 games, and Ronaldo's 6 goals in 5 games, comparing Jardel to Drogba isn't wrong, is it? If they had Jardel or Benfica's Nuno Gomes, how strong would this forward line be? It would be comparable to any of the top 5 leagues. Drogba faced a wave of online abuse. The honest African was also affected by this online manipulation, genuinely feeling inferior to everyone else. This wasn't just due to these comments, it was also related to the formidable talent displayed by Drogba's positional rival, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, in training. Ibrahimovic's ball control, dribbling skills, shooting technique, and passing ability are all superior to Drogba's. Even physically, Drogba felt his strengths were limited. If Ibrahimovic was willing to work up a physique, Drogba's advantage would vanish, given Ibrahimovic's height. Drogba saw no hope. So even with the hardship and pain, he endured it and persisted in training. Until... Stop, Drogba, yes, I mean you, stop for a second. Deng Kai called a halt during the team's regular training. Most people would probably get scolded by the coach for doing that. But not Deng Kai. Maxa quickly signaled everyone to stop and rush towards Deng Kai, worried that he might be tired or thirsty. He, the youngest ever super chef, Little Dengsa, was ready to serve at any moment. Chapter 277 Reassuring the Monsters. Are you injured? Deng Kai pointed to Drogba's right ankle. To others, it seemed that Maxi was worried about Drogba's injury and rushed over. Even Drogba himself was moved by Max's actions. A true champion. With a coach like this, what more could one ask for? He would gladly dedicate himself to Maxa, even unto death. No, I didn't, don't talk nonsense. The honest Drogba's 3 denials drew the attention of the entire team. Even if you scolded him, he'd barely utter a few words. He'd never perform 3 in a row. This was definitely suspicious. What happened? When did it happen? Deng Kai, unsuspecting, pulled Drogba towards the medical room. Drogba tried to refuse several times, but didn't dare to really argue with Deng Kai, and the two gradually moved away from the training field. Finally, Drogba revealed the truth. He was indeed injured. His right ankle was noticeably painful. He had been kicked by an opposing player during a previous match. Because of the pain in his right foot, he put more effort into his left leg, and now the tendon in the back of his left thigh is also causing some cramping. After a checkup at the medical room, his teammates said the situation was not optimistic. His right Achilles tendon was fine, but there was some damage to his ankle. This is an important joint and requires rest. In addition, he had a minor strain in his left thigh, which could have worsened into a serious strain if not detected in time. According to Drogba, this situation had been going on for some time. The team doctor was amazed by Drogba's ability to endure the pain. You're actually able to continue training and playing despite these injuries? It's outrageous. Let alone whether an average person could withstand this kind of pain. Even if they could, the injury would have already deteriorated rapidly. It's like playing after receiving a pain-relieving injection. Drogba not only acted as an anesthetic himself, but he also didn't experience the strong side effects that other players experience after receiving injections. No wonder he later earned the nickname the Beast. This body doesn't seem to come from Ivory Coast, it's more like it came from the Warsong clan of Orgrimmar. You can't continue playing, you must rest, the team doctor said. No, please, let me continue playing. Please don't tell Mr. Trigura. Drogba pleaded. I really need to play. I can't stay on the bench forever. That would mean elimination. I don't want to be eliminated. If I don't make it in Benfica, I might not even get a job back in League 2. Then I won't be able to support my family. I don't want my wife and children to go hungry or cold. 22-year-old Drogba knew the importance of family. He intended to shoulder it all with his strong physique. His emotions were running high, and his fierce appearance initially frightened the team doctor. Finally, Deng Kai calmed Drogba down. "Hey, brother, I think you've got something wrong." Drogba didn't understand what Deng Kai was talking about. Perhaps elsewhere, being on the bench means you're not good enough, but not here. Deng Kai took out a pen and paper and drew some tactical diagrams on them. These are the ordinary teams you used to play for. Because they didn't have any honors or were eliminated early, they played fewer games. To save money, they only needed one fixed starting lineup. But we're different. First of all, we won't have fewer games. Portuguese Super League, UEFA Cup, Portuguese Cup. As long as we keep winning, we'll play more than a dozen more games than other teams. Most importantly, many times we'll have 2 or even 3 games a week. The concept of a substitute in a team like ours is that of a starter in certain games. That's the first point. You don't have to worry about being kicked out of the team if you're on the bench. It's different. Drogba's expression was slightly calmer. Deng Kai continued sketching. Another point of difference is that our team has truly top-tier tactical masters. You've probably noticed that we have a variety of playing styles, and each player has their own specific runs and recommended moves, right? You have yours too. This means that sometimes a player sits on the bench not because they're not good enough, but because the main tactic used today is different. That's called targeted play. This gives us more initiative when facing strong opponents. We can target them, but they have a harder time targeting us. That's my first point. We'll win more cup competitions. The two complement each other. You know we have specific tactics designed around your runs, which means you have your own role in the team. This shows you're an important member. So, while the league has just started and you still have the chance to recover, go and recover. Otherwise, in the second half of the season, every game is crucial, and even if you're injured, Mr. Tridra will have to ask you to play through the pain. Drogba wasn't stupid, he understood Deng Kai's meaning. With a tactical mastermind Maxa, the team needed Drogba in certain playing styles. But Drogba had another worry. But Ibrahimovic, he can do everything I can, and most of what he can do, I can't do. Deng Kai shook his head. No, what you can do, Ibrahimovic can't. I know what you're thinking, he's taller, more technically skilled. If he's a Rolls Royce, then you're just a regular pickup truck. But you have to understand, there's a reason why playing styles are formed. No matter how Ibrahimovic changes, it's hard for him to do all the dirty work. He has his own charm in handling the ball, but he will never reach your level in terms of absolute simplicity. Besides, you're actually much faster than him, especially when you're running. This kind of impact is rare in world football. This is different from absolute speed. This kind of gravitational acceleration allows for more lateral expansion. In short, you don't need to worry about anything. The team bought you, definitely not to make you a fringe player. You and Ibrahimovic, you both play very important roles and will become important assets on the team's front line. In the end, Drogba agreed to receive treatment. Furthermore, on Deng Kai's recommendation, he also tried traditional Chinese bone setting. His consistently rough playing style has left his body in need of maintenance in many areas. In fact, if he hadn't come to Sporting Lisbon and had stayed at Le Mans, Drogba would have spent this season plagued by recurring injuries, making only 11 appearances and failing to score a single goal. These injuries, both major and minor, have also impacted his future. Chapter 278. Another one ruined. Although Drogba is considered a top-tier tough guy with a defensive physique, his playing style and an early injury have led to numerous setbacks throughout his career. Otherwise, his potential could have been even higher. After calming Drogba down, Deng Kai also raised his expectations. But speaking of which, do you know why you can't seem to score? This was a truly existential question. Drogba desperately wanted to know the answer. Bad luck once or twice isn't always possible. He'd recently started wondering if he'd offended God, and if God was playing a cruel joke on him. A fat peach. No, I'm the one playing the trick on you. Actually, Drogba has come incredibly close to scoring in every game. He's already hit the crossbar once, the post once, the goalkeeper twice, and defenders 3 times. Even if only half of those resulted in goals, that's 3 or 4. 3 goals in 5 games, 2 assists, and a tactical role. What else could you be but a phenomenal striker? Don't apply Deng Kai and Ronaldo's standards to other players. This is the world's best player. Ibrahimovic, damn. Who the hell said that? Deng Kai, I said it. Ibrahimovic, then I think you're right, Kai. Your playing style makes your goal-scoring efficiency low. Intense tackling and physical contact definitely affect your shooting touch. Deng Kai analyzed Drogba's situation. At the same time, your technical reserves are still somewhat weak. You struggle to capitalize on some of your real scoring opportunities. Do you know why you've been starting in recent matches? Because Mr. Tragura is satisfied with your performance on the field. You've fulfilled the basic objectives he set for your position. Pulling, running, covering, holding off, aerial duels, you do all of these very well. But have you noticed? There's no requirement for you to score. So your scoring opportunities lie outside of these things. After dropping back to receive the ball, can you only pass it back or hold off the opponent and then pass it back? With your physical strength, you actually have every opportunity to hold off the opponent, turn, and unleash a powerful long-range shot. You have that physical ability and strength. I see you usually practice shooting inside the penalty area. Honestly, how many opportunities do you think you have to shoot inside the penalty area? Your footwork isn't fast enough. Once you get inside the penalty area, your preparatory movements are enough for someone else to disrupt the ball. And your job is to frequently pull back, drop back, and run. The real shooting opportunities inside the penalty area belong to Ronaldo, me, Quaresma, and Viana. Your opportunities are outside. Even if you are actually inside the penalty area and actually receive the ball, the team's task for you is to use your attraction and pivot to create shooting opportunities for others. Understand? Your abilities may not be limited to these. But you must do these things well now so that you will have the opportunity to do more later. Including the long-range shots I just mentioned, you can't try them frequently. You can only try them occasionally while completing your main job. You might feel that this is unfair. Drogba nodded. If what Deng Kai said was true, then it was indeed a bit unfair to him. Where is there any reason not to allow center forwards to shoot? Besides, Drogba is not incapable of scoring inside the penalty area. Is he just being a blue-collar worker and bullying others? Deng Kai laughed, but wasn't the last player who felt this was unfair your substitute? Achoo. Ibrahimovic on the training field felt like someone was cursing him. Drogba suddenly stopped feeling it was unfair. If this was the price of starting, then he still thought starting was better. Actually, it's not that unfair, Deng Kai whispered to Drogba. The chances you create are mostly used by Ronaldo, me, and Quaresma. You could study it, never mind, you definitely don't have the time. I've done the research for you. If you squandered all those chances you created, you'd need to average about 3.5 goals per game. I'm not questioning you, but you can count on your fingers whether there's any player in world football who averages 3.5 goals per game. That's your value. Drogba understood. So that's how it is. He couldn't possibly average 3.5 goals per game, no one could. He couldn't even average 1 goal per game. Wasn't he sold by Neymar without hesitation precisely because his goal-scoring efficiency was too low? He used to average around 0.35 goals per game. But that also proved his strong ability to create chances. Drogba was satisfied. If you can become a top-tier center forward in creating chances, that's a lucrative path. The team doctor listened, completely bewildered. He wanted to ask, were all these chances really created by Drogba alone? Did they also involve Drogba's brilliant passes, Viana's organization, Ronaldo's sprints, and Quaresma's dribbling? Drogba and Quaresma's contributions were quite significant. If you really calculated it, if Drogba created and used his own chances, it would be roughly even, right? So, when he finally gets a scoring opportunity, he might as well take it himself. This whole system had completely confused Drogba. Now, Drogba had 3 thoughts on his mind. First, to recover from his injury quickly and return to the field as soon as possible. Second, to practice long-range shooting, especially turning and flicking the ball for long-range shots. Third, to practice passing, various simple passing techniques, striving to accelerate the team's attack from his position, creating more shooting and scoring opportunities, realizing his personal value, treating the team as his home, his teammates as family, and wholeheartedly serving the entire midfield and forward line. Deng Kai was satisfied with Drogba's aptitude. Oh well, another one ruined. I mean, another one he taught. News of Drogba's injury quickly spread throughout the team. Ibrahimovic was overjoyed. No, the Swedish genius wouldn't be ecstatic about someone else getting injured and him taking over. He maintained a serious expression, upholding his genius dignity. Then, he frantically pumped his toes inside his boots, celebrated with a sliding knee slide, and even, well, you know. But reality dealt the Swedish genius a heavy blow. On October 3rd, the fifth round of the Portuguese league, Sporting Lisbon faced last year's champions, Boavista. At Deng Kai's suggestion, Trigger resolutely chose the older and shorter João Pinto as the team's center forward. The results were quite good. Pinto himself contributed an assist. Cristiano Ronaldo and Quaresma both flew down the wings, each scoring a goal. The score was 2-2. In the final moments, Deng Kai's long-range shot created a corner kick. Viana took a corner kick, and Pepe, who replaced Deschamps, rose high and headed in the winning goal, sealing a victory for Sporting Lisbon. Sporting Lisbon achieves their fifth consecutive league win. Chapter 279. Is there a problem with this defensive line? Ibrahimovic came on as a substitute in this match, only playing for 15 minutes. He looked extremely grim. October 17th, the sixth round of the Portuguese league. Pinto still started. Quaresma dribbled past his opponent on the wing, winning a corner. In the 14th minute, Viana took a short corner, Duncan crossed, Barzogli's header was blocked, and the clearance fell to Matthäus. Matthäus' long-range shot hit Ronaldo and deflected into the net. Matthäus was forced to assist Ronaldo. In the 41st minute, Duncan's through ball broke through the opponent's defense. Pinto was fouled in the penalty area and won a penalty, which Quaresma converted. In the second half, the two sides switched ends. In the 63rd minute, Quaresma crossed from the byline, Ronaldo and Pinto switched positions, and Ronaldo headed the ball into the net, scoring his second goal. In the 67th minute, after a series of complex passes in midfield, Duncan entered the penalty area. Deschamps, having grown up alongside Zidane, has learned a knack for passing. A through ball found Deng Kai in the box, who controlled the ball and curled a shot into the net. However, while they won, the score was 4-3. Sporting Lisbon narrowly defeated Ferens. Compared to their early season stellar wins, these recent narrow victories reveal some underlying issues. Headlines include, winning can't mask a decline, Sporting Lisbon's youth storm may be unsustainable. As the season progresses, Portuguese teams are gaining a better understanding of Sporting Lisbon. The youth storm approach may no longer be effective, conceding goals repeatedly, unstable defense. Sporting Lisbon's defense has major problems. Font doesn't deserve to start. Barzagli and Terry lack experience. A young defense is ultimately unreliable. Deschamps is weak and outdated. Matthäus alone can't fill four gaps. Sporting Lisbon's defense has major problems, and Schmeichel's magic is gone. His form has declined significantly, making a clean sheet unlikely again. The media seized the opportunity, leading Sporting Lisbon fans to criticize their own defense. However, in internal meetings at Sporting Lisbon, adjustments were made time and again to improve their attack. Pinto is better suited to playing as a shadow striker. While he seems to possess passing and playmaking abilities, the environment is too harsh for him to hold his ground. Furthermore, his impact on the opponent's defense, both visually and physically, when he enters the penalty area isn't as strong as Drogba's. It's not that we necessarily want Pinto to learn Drogba's style of play, that's impossible to replicate. Our attack has speed and technique on the wings, and organization and sudden acceleration in midfield. What we lack is a target man who can hold his ground deep in the opponent's defense, and a strong header to supplement our attack. While Ronaldo, Quaresma, Duncan, and Viana can all do these things when they enter the penalty area, positioning is crucial. The difference between inserting yourself into that position and being in that position naturally can be significant. Moreover, with four players penetrating the penalty area, if there's no clear path out from inside, the opponent's penalty area will be completely isolated. It seems the deadly threat lies with the four players making runs into the penalty area, but all of this depends on the center forward being able to draw the opposing defenders out first. Trigueira's words had nothing to do with defense. It was as if he hadn't even seen the scathing attacks published by the media. Matthäus and Deschamps both participated in the coaching staff's discussion, which was one of the conditions for their joining the team. Deschamps raised his hand and asked, but our main problem right now is on the defensive end. We score a lot of goals. I admit, there's something wrong with me. I often don't have a particularly good way to deal with fast or strong players. Maxi laughed immediately. He had seen this question before and knew the correct answer. Mr. Maxi, what are your thoughts? Mathias also felt that today's discussion had strayed from its focus. Maxi took a sip of tea, glancing at Coach Kai, and noticing that Coach Kai didn't seem to mind his plagiarism, or rather, his remarks. He began, there's a Chinese saying, treat the head when it hurts, treat the foot when it hurts. If you treat it, the problem persists. We've discussed defense and offense many times before. I'll say it one last time, so remember to take notes and don't come to my office after class asking me these simple conceptual questions. Our goal tally looks high, but does that mean our attack is the same as before? Maxi turned the screen to show everyone his summarized data report. Notice how our attacking initiations, passes in the penalty area, and shots have all declined since Drogba's injury. In other words, the team has significantly fewer chances. Deschamps raised his hand, but doesn't that also mean our forwards are more efficient? Besides their improved individual abilities and teamwork, could it also be related to the reduced number of attacks? What I mean is, while the chances seem fewer, each one is actually more refined, increasing the probability of our forward scoring. Like Arsenal, they get the ball into the opponent's goal through constant passing. They're aiming for at least 9th-tier attacking opportunities, and many opportunities that could have been launched from 7th or 8th tiers are being disrupted in the process. But that doesn't mean it's wrong. Because without trying so many 7th and 8th tier opportunities, you won't have so many 9th tier opportunities. Max nodded, what you said makes sense, so the situation on the field and the opponent's statistics are very valuable at this point. This is the key difference between those who watch football and those who don't, in their understanding of the team and players. Let's look at this set of reports. Before Drogba's injury, our opponents launched fewer than 10 attacks per game. They brought the ball into the attacking third and created a real threat less than 5 times. Except for corner kicks, they had fewer than 4 shots. But after Pinto started, these statistics for our opponents improved significantly. That's why our forwards' attacking efficiency improved. We got more counter-attacking opportunities, or rather, opportunities to counter the opponent's counter-attacks. We have more opportunities to exploit their positional errors, and this kind of attack is inherently more efficient than attacking their solid defense. Deschamps trusted Max's statistics, but he still didn't understand how this had anything to do with today's main topic, defense. Looking at Deschamps' conflicted expression, Max suddenly understood why he had won Keane's favor. Having such a brilliant strategist by his side brought such a satisfying sense of accomplishment. Deschamps, I'm definitely going to fool your protege. Chapter 280's Latin never fears any challenge. Maxier gave Deschamps a benevolent smile. When we're attacking, we have a huge advantage. The game is 1090, and the chance of losing is also 1090. It's hard not to win unless it's an extreme situation. But now, the game is 30/70. And we're 70%. But the odds of winning or losing have dropped to within 40-60, and we might even only have 55%. This is the series of problems that come with a poor attack. So the huge problems we've had in defense lately are essentially due to our ineffective attack. We haven't been able to overwhelm our opponents. We definitely need to improve the form and ability of our defensive players. But if we don't understand the priorities, it will only backfire, and the results might even worsen. So, in summary, Pinto's frequent loss of possession is the key to our defensive problems. Deschamps felt Maxier had said something very new. He didn't fully understand it, but he knew it was powerful. So, this is, attack to the death, whoever defends loses? Mathias, being a bit sharper, figured it out and asked, then why not replace Pinto? He loses possession too much, can't hold on to the ball, mainly due to physical reasons. Don't we have another big center forward in our team? That guy, what's his name, sizzling pants, smelly, and delicious? Trigger chuckled unkindly, then replied bitterly, that's the problem. We analyzed all Ibrahimovic's playing time and data, and the conclusion is, if he plays as the starting center forward, the defensive problems he causes due to losing possession will be even more serious than Pinto's. In other words, Pinto is already our best center forward. Mathias found this absurd statement hard to believe. But the data didn't lie. Considering Ibrahimovic's winger-oriented playing style, It was actually true. On the training ground, Ibrahimovic was quite frustrated. He felt he was far superior to Drogba, let alone the old and short João Pinto. But these two had both relegated him to the bench. It was outrageous. Does this team have some prejudice against talented players? Damn it. I shouldn't have come to this damn Sporting Lisbon in the first place. I should have gone to Arsenal. Wenger may have been rude, but he's still willing to give young players a chance. Ibrahimovic, what's wrong? You look so down all day. Deng Kai sat down next to Ibrahimovic. Kai, nothing, just taking a break. Ibrahimovic's reply was completely unenthusiastic. Now he doesn't call him young Master Kai or Brother Kai anymore. It seems he thinks clinging to someone powerful isn't working. You, Deng Kai, are so awesome, you're all the rage in the team, but you still haven't managed to get your little brother, Ibrahimovic, into the starting lineup. Hell, damn it. The coaching staff is having a meeting today. Deng Kai said unhurriedly. Oh. Ibrahimovic was indifferent. Why talk to him about the defense? Are they planning to make Ibrahimovic play center back? Don't even think about it. Barzagli and Pepe, those idiots, only gradually retreated because they couldn't make it in the forward line. How could Ibrahimovic, a genius like him, be fooled? We discussed the starting center forward position, Deng Kai said casually. I told the coach I think you're capable. But if you're not very interested, the coaching staff will probably have to go after Quaimeu. And Ronaldo, he's actually quite interested in the center forward position too. Ibrahimovic immediately jumped up. Quaimeu? No way, he's not tall enough. Ronaldo is so fast, it's a waste for him to play center forward, he's irreplaceable on the left wing. I can do it, I'm fully prepared, I can start any time. Brother Kai. Okay, it's Brother Kai again. This young man, he just treats things where they hurt, his grudges and affections change too quickly, not reliable enough. However, Mr. Maxa said that if you want to start, you have to pass a test, or rather, training. I don't know if you're willing to accept it. Let me make it clear, it's very difficult, and there's a risk of injury. Deng Kai revealed his true intentions. Ibrahimovic patted his chest. Zlatan never fears any challenge. The next moment, Deng Kai beckoned to the team's four defensive stalwarts. Terry and Barzagli are in one group, Pepe and Font in the other. Take turns dispossessing Ibrahimovic, 10 times per turn. The slower you are, the lower your score will be. This is related to the starting lineup and rotation, so you'd better take it seriously. Deng Kai also put pressure on the four key players. You can tackle, the physical contact is high, but no scissor tackles, and no elbows to vital areas. Ibrahimovic's face turned pale. What did he just hear? No elbows to vital areas? That means you can elbow other parts of his body? What kind of test is this? Is it too late for Zlatan to be a little intimidated by this challenge? Next, a massive logging operation began. Ibrahimovic had to carry the ball from the edge of the penalty area to the penalty spot while being double-teamed. The method was not limited. Deng Kai would be responsible for calling some fouls, but the high physical contact meant, At first, Ibrahimovic wanted to show off his skills, but later he didn't have the chance at all. After being fouled so many times, he even got red-faced. But even with his black belt in karate, he couldn't take down two formidable defenders by himself. Besides, Mr. Maxa was watching from the window. They'd play for a while, get angry, curse, and even fight. But training had to continue. On the first day, Ibrahimovic's legs were covered in bruises, scratches, and abrasions. On the second day, he had multiple bruises on his chest and waist, and even bloodstains on his legs. On the third day, his arms were also covered in bruises. Each day was harder than the last. But similarly, the time it took the four defenders to dispossess Ibrahimovic was also increasing. Because Ibrahimovic, whose primary focus was on showing off, was forced to use his body to contend with a center-back due to the hardships of life, and then use his footwork and upper body strength to dribble past him. Slowly, he was able to occasionally complete a breakthrough. With the next round of matches approaching, Ibrahimovic understood the purpose of this training. This was a tough test for the defense, honing their two-on-one coordination, one-on-one defending, physical drills, tackling, and tackles. But it also forced Ibrahimovic to develop his physical abilities. A blind man's hearing is sharp. He has quick legs and strong arms. A technically gifted player who hasn't experienced physical limitations won't think about developing their physique, even if they possess a wealth of physical gifts. Finally, when Trigura announced Ibrahimovic as the starting center forward for the next match, he burst into tears of emotion in front of his teammates. Not just tears for starting, but also because his grueling training was finally over. He wouldn't have to be left to fend for himself every day. Back in his small villa room, Ibrahimovic mysteriously pulled out his treasure, his diary. Good heavens, mother tested positive too. Now there are 4 people in the family, 2 are positive. Peach and Cicada have to take care of mom and dad's diet and prevent infection. I don't know how long they can hold on. Chapter 281 The Cool Notebook. The paper was covered in dense profanity. Deng Kai, if your second uncle's grandson's homeroom teacher's old boss, you inhuman butcher, the biggest demon of sporting Lisbon, the hypocritical dictator from the east, the peerless enchantress who bewitched Lord Maxa because there were too many to list. The paper also had many small, finger-sized creases. These were the marks left by tears that had soaked the paper. Paper leaves its mark. Ibrahimovic remembered all this pain. One day, he would make director Kai, no, he wasn't here now, so he could just curse him directly. He would make Kai pay for everything. His current forbearance was only for the exhilarating moment of turning the tables on Kai after his moment of triumph. What? For my own good? Ibrahimovic laughed. Who is Ibrahimovic? He practiced the soft yet hard touchy, watched elegant golf and ballet, liked the soft lines of Venetian painting, loved cotton candy and cream puffs, listened to classical piano music, and liked wearing loose-fitting robes. Can you guess what he meant? He has an artistic gene in his bones, a gentle soul. Forcing someone like him to engage in hand-to-hand combat in concrete jungles would be more about a mental anguish than the physical pain. A physical, target-man striker is definitely not a style Ibrahimovic can accept. But money is hard to earn, and life is tough. When you're under someone's roof, you have to bow your head. Ibrahimovic keeps track of all these things for Deng Kai. Kai, don't you dare let me get involved, or else. Hey, Ibrahimovic, you like writing in a diary too? Ronaldo passed by Ibrahimovic's room. Ibrahimovic was so engrossed in writing that he forgot to close the door. It even has a pink cover. I didn't know you liked this macho color. Yes, a little pink book, recording some of the beautiful things in life. Ibrahimovic gave an innocent smile, afraid that Ronaldo, who is in cahoots with Deng Kai, would find out this big secret. You even have a motto in there? Ronaldo walked in. Ibrahimovic was extremely nervous. He didn't want Ronaldo to see his diary, but wouldn't doing so be too obvious? While Ibrahimovic was struggling internally, Ronaldo turned to the first page. Where there's a will, there's a way. With perseverance and determination, even a small force can overcome great obstacles. You're something else. This is quite insightful. But shouldn't there be a second part? Seeing that Ronaldo didn't continue, Ibrahimovic relaxed. I found it online. This phrase is very popular in China and it really inspires me. Ronaldo nodded and left Ibrahimovic's room. Back in his own room, Ronaldo took out his diary, opened to the first page, and there it was. Where there's a will, there's a way. With unwavering resolve, even the seemingly insurmountable impasse can be conquered. He felt like he had found the second half of the phrase. From being the sole star among stars to just one among many, Ronaldo was still finding it hard to adjust. Before, Duncan's passes were always going to him. Now, Duncan had to pass to Drogba, Pinto, Viana, Quaresma, and the others. Ronaldo was very distressed about this. But he also knew that it was related to his own lack of strength, so he found this phrase to encourage himself. He believed that Sporting Lisbon's future ultimately belonged to Cristiano Ronaldo. Then, not only would Deng Kai pass the ball to him, but the entire team would. He would monopolize possession and shoot to his heart's content. On October 21st, the second leg of the first round of the UEFA Cup began. Sporting Lisbon's opponent was still Gaziantep. This time, they were visiting Turkey, getting a taste of the environment of a star-studded retirement home. It has to be said, it was truly impressive. In terms of comfort, it was definitely better than Sporting Lisbon, and even better than most teams in the top 5 leagues. Some players were so happy they didn't want to leave. Unfortunately, they only wanted aging superstars, not young stars who weren't popular enough. Ibrahimovic, finally getting another starting opportunity, took this match very seriously. He played with a Drogba-esque flair, fighting hard in the muscle-bound jungle he hated. In the 21st minute, Ibrahimovic's struggle paid off. He received a long pass from Mitthals under double pressure. After controlling the ball with his chest, Ibrahimovic held off his opponent, using his footwork to maneuver. After Viana came up to receive the pass, Ibrahimovic passed it back to Viana, then bumped past a defender to try and find his position. Viana passed it across to Duncan. Duncan played a through ball over the top. Ibrahimovic was tackled and brought down by a defender. The referee blew his whistle. Free kick. It was a free kick just outside the edge of the penalty area, in an excellent position. Quaresma and Duncan were both positioned behind the ball. Gaziantep had a defender lying on the ground, clearly aware of Duncan's low shot. Quaresma made a run. Duncan took the free kick directly. He has a knack for curling shots. But the Gaziantep players were very energetic, jumping high and blocking the ball. The ball bounced off the wall and flew back. Quaresma, without controlling the ball, volleyed it with the outside of his foot, creating a unique curve that went right through the gap in the wall. Swish. Goal. Quaresma's outside of the foot shot was truly impressive. Goal. Quaresma scores. Deng Kai's free kick almost went in. Both shots were very high quality. Of course, we can't ignore the origin of this free kick. Ibrahimovic rarely starts, but he performed unexpectedly well. Although he didn't play as aggressively as Drogba, he's still an excellent target man with his physical and technical dominance. In the 29th minute, Ibrahimovic received a through pass from Deng Kai, feinted left and right, deceiving the center-back behind him, and turned. Bang! A powerful shot from the edge of the penalty area. Unfortunately, the goalkeeper made a brilliant save, only awarding Sporting Lisbon a corner. Drogba, watching on TV, felt a sense of crisis. This was the style of play Deng Kai had previously suggested to him. Drogba wasn't fully recovered from his injury and would need a long time to practice afterward. But Ibrahimovic only needed to overcome his aversion to physical contact. He possessed these skills and timing innately. That's the difference in talent. Drogba was very worried. Deng Kai then took the corner, but the ball was cleared by the opposing player. After controlling the first ball on the perimeter, Matos passed it back to Duncan. At this point, Sporting Lisbon's players were still inside the opponent's penalty area. The opposing team didn't dare to easily come out to defend, waiting for Duncan's pass. Ibrahimovic, quick-witted, suddenly rushed from inside the penalty area towards Duncan. Wanting to receive the ball on the left side of the penalty area and act as a target man. Gaziantep's defense instantly loosened up, as a player ran out following Ibrahimovic. His own position was taken by Barzagli, who was then marked by the opponent. A change in strategy occurred. Bang! Duncan crossed again, a precise header. In the midst of this series of changes, Ronaldo found the best position and leaped high. He didn't need to look for the ball. He believed the ball would find him. Duncan's love should still be there. Chapter 282 Zlatan Ibrahimovic, the best blue-collar center of the future. Bang! The ball slammed into Ronaldo's head, grazing the underside of the crossbar before flying into the net. Deng Kai's cross set up Ronaldo, who headed the ball into the net. 2-0. Gaziantep has really been getting thrashed by Sporting Lisbon these past two matches. I thought they'd have an easier time without Drogba. But now it seems Drogba's substitute, Ibrahimovic, is also very strong. His run just now completely revitalized the team's attacking movement. In football, the worst thing is point-to-point play. If there's no movement, then every point of attack is very weak. That's the significance of a center forward creating space. It's a role that no other player can replace. In the following minutes, Sporting Lisbon launched a relentless attack. Quaresma, in particular, repeatedly lofted high balls to Ibrahimovic, making their attack incredibly easy. Today, he dribbled past opponents on the wings with ease, passing the ball wherever he wanted. But this exposed Ibrahimovic's weakness in heading. Officially listed at 1.95 meters, but actually at least 1.92 meters, Ibrahimovic possesses all the qualities of a top-class header, yet during this period, his heading ability was truly lacking. He couldn't head the ball properly. He lacked power. He simply dodged the ball with his head. The root cause, besides his slightly small head, was related to his artistic nature. How could an artist's mind be used to clash with a football? Ibrahimovic had already sacrificed his body for football. He couldn't afford to compromise on his head. In the 45th minute, with the first half nearing its end, Gaziantep relaxed his guard slightly, focusing on defense and subconsciously reducing the intensity of his fouls. As a result, Ibrahimovic seized this opportunity, receiving a pass from behind and performing 2 step-overs just outside the penalty area. You have to admit, although the speed was a bit slow, it really fooled people. Because it was so sudden. Who would have thought a 1.95-meter tall player would perform a step-over? With this, Ibrahimovic dribbled into the penalty area. Facing at least 2 center-backs, Ibrahimovic used a Marseille's turn to hold off his opponent and pull the ball away. Ronaldo, who had switched positions with Viana on the left and was repeatedly probing the edge of the penalty area, successfully beat the offside trap, received the pass, and easily slotted the ball home. Even the goalkeeper was drawn out by Ibrahimovic. This was a goal even O'Neill's grandmother could score. Ronaldo simply got lucky. The score was now 3-0. Gaziantep fans were adjusting their mindset during halftime. In the second half, some even wore Methols or Schmeichel jerseys to cheer on their superstars. The Turkish Super League's generosity towards superstars is truly hard to resist. In the 65th minute, Gaziantep took a corner. Barzagli headed the ball away. Deschamps controlled the first ball and immediately passed it to Duncan. Duncan, without looking, unleashed a half-turn shot. Quaresma, speeding down the right flank, was fouled, earning a free kick from a distance. After his teammates came up, Deng Kai took a tactical free kick. Quaresma dribbled down the byline and crossed. The quality of this pass was incredibly high. Sporting Lisbon has many tall players. Previously, Gaziantep had also discovered that Ibrahimovic's heading threat was even less than Ronaldo's, so they all focused on marking players like Barzagli, Font, and Ronaldo. But Quaresma happened to find the tallest player, Ibrahimovic. Without much defensive pressure, even Ibrahimovic's small height couldn't resist. He almost stood up and headed the ball steadily into the goal. Wow! Ibrahimovic scored too. This is a goal Drogba has always dreamed of. Quaresma's cross is really accurate. In terms of technique, he is unparalleled at Sporting Lisbon. Viana, Ibrahimovic, Ronaldo, and Deng Kai all have to come in second. Note, this ranking is in order of preference. Deng Kai. In the 74th minute, Pepe replaced Deschamps. In the 81st minute, Quaresma made a series of breakthroughs on the right wing. Ibrahimovic dropped out of the penalty area to help Quaresma dribble past him with a 1-2. Quaresma feigned a shot with his left foot, drawing the defender's attention. But the opposing team clearly forgot that Quaresma is a right-footed player, with his left foot, especially the outside of his foot, being exceptionally strong. Normally, they wouldn't choose to shoot with their left foot. Bang! A fake shot followed by a pass. Quaresma pushed the ball across the penalty area. Duncan made a run from deep and unremarkable, but his shot beat the goalkeeper. Gaziantep's goalkeeper clearly has a phobia of Sporting Lisbon players. Whoever shoots at him scores. This series could very well be the lowest point of his career. 10 goals conceded in 2 legs. Who can withstand such a blow? Ultimately, the score was 5-0. 5-1 in the first encounter, 5-0 in the second. Sporting Lisbon has 6 points from 2 legs, a 9-goal advantage in goal difference, making them a strong contender for first place in the group. The other 2 matches between these 2 teams didn't have such dramatic scores. In this match, Deng Kai and Ibrahimovic both scored and assisted, Ronaldo scored twice, and Quaresma was named man of the match with a goal and 2 assists. The overall performance was quite impressive. Defensively, Sporting Lisbon's defense was clearly better. However, the problem is that they haven't made any adjustments to this defensive line. Isn't that infuriating? Portuguese media have offered their interpretations. Sporting Lisbon's stubbornness leaves defensive vulnerabilities. A crushing defeat is possible in the next round. 8-game winning streak across all competitions since the start of the season. Sporting Lisbon will face a tough battle in the next round. Barzagli's slow turning, Terry's reckless pressing, Pepe's poor positional awareness and tendency to lose his temper, Font's overall goodness but lack of tackling and interception ability. Portugal's golden generation striker Gomes can easily outmaneuver them all. João Pinto is about to return to the Estadio da Luz. Will he be greeted with applause or boos? Ibrahimovic's stunning performance may prevent Pinto from starting. Benfica fans are outraged. Deng Kai's post-match comments on teammate Ibrahimovic. Once he adapts to the Portuguese league, Ibrahimovic's performance will only get better and better. He has the ability to conquer the Portuguese league. Drogba in danger, return immediately. Ibrahimovic is very likely to grow into the best blue-collar center-forward in the Portuguese league. Nuno Gomes, confident in helping the team beat Sporting Lisbon. Young teams are too prone to making mistakes, and Methalis and Deschamps can't keep up with my pace. Don't forget, Germany's failure to advance from the group stage in this year's European Championship was Portugal's doing. Gomes also scored against France. While others might be criticizing Methalis and Deschamps, Gomes definitely has the right to speak on this matter. Manish, another Benfica player with ties to Sporting Lisbon, also gave an interview. The last Benfica wasn't at their best. This time, we'll tear Sporting Lisbon apart at the Estadio da Luz. In response to Manish's comments, Deng Kai retorted, "Why are you still playing as a striker? Quaresma, Ronaldo, Viana, Drogba, Ibrahimovic, João Pinto, Nuno Gomes, who do you think you are?" Manish was furious. Other players are one thing, but Ibrahimovic, a substitute striker, dares to compare himself to me? Ibrahimovic was enraged, but unfortunately, no media interviewed him. Otherwise, he would have shown Manish just how powerful the Swedish critics were. Because of Manish's provocation, Ibrahimovic had been trying to prove himself in training these past few days. Finally, Deng Kai simply approached Ibrahimovic and told him that in the next match, the team would create an opportunity for him to outshine Manish. Ibrahimovic was overjoyed and cried tears of joy. He knew that the team's change was definitely due to Deng Kai's communication with the coaching staff. Deng Kai was just daydreaming. Chapter 283 Little round head, cool expression, professional winger Ibrahimovic. But the real situation is, Benfica's defense is in great form this year, and they don't lack height. Although Ibrahimovic has subjectively solved the problem of physical confrontation, his actual physical strength is lower than Drogba's. He hasn't started to build up his strength yet, and this kind of high-intensity confrontation could cause injuries. Plus, with Nuno Gomes training alongside him in Benfica's internal training, this defense is already better able to handle attacks through the middle. So I suggest that Ibrahimovic try to play as wide as possible in this match. João Pinto also joined the coaching staff's discussion. This made Paulo Bento, also from Portugal's golden generation, envious and jealous. Pinto naturally told Tragura everything he knew about Benfica. It was precisely because of this that Duncan told Ibrahimovic that the team would create an opportunity for him to outshine Manish in the next match. Isn't Manish a winger? Then Ibrahimovic can also operate on the wing. This is exactly what Ibrahimovic wanted. As for whether Ibrahimovic can actually play on the wing, if you ask him to play as a winger like Quaresma or Ronaldo, that's definitely not going to work. Lukaku later demonstrated that beer-bellied wingers are unreliable. But as for wide-line center-forwards, Ibrahimovic can still play. What is a wide-line center-forward? A typical target man primarily drops back to the edge of the penalty area to receive the ball, providing a pivot point between the midfield and attacking third for his teammates, helping the ball cross that area and create real scoring opportunities. Or, they wait inside the penalty area for teammates to cross from the wings or launch long balls to directly create scoring chances. Wide-line center-forwards lack the latter ability because their area of activity is not inside the penalty area, but on the flanks. Their role as a target man is not in the center outside the penalty area, but on the flanks. The team's high balls are mainly delivered to them after they move to the flanks. This makes the pressure on the center-forward when receiving the ball much less than when receiving it in the center, giving them a much more relaxed environment to handle the ball. However, correspondingly, this places higher demands on their speed, footwork, cutting inside, and crossing ability. This is also why Ibrahimovic can play as a center-forward on the wing. His footwork is in no way inferior to that of ordinary wingers. Although he can't match Quaresma's speed, his fluidity is just as impressive. While he can't match Ronaldo's speed either, he's certainly not an old machine. After all, he's young and hasn't built up much muscle. His current speed isn't much different from Drogba's. And Drogba's speed is already considered a high-speed tank among center-forwards. On October 24, the 7th round of the Portuguese League, Sporting Lisbon visited the Estadio da Luz to challenge Benfica. Currently, Sporting Lisbon is at the top of the standings. Porto is in second place, having also won all their league matches so far, although their goal difference is slightly lower. However, Jardel has the most goals in the Portuguese league so far, higher than Ronaldo's 6 league goals and Quaresma's 5. Benfica is in third place, having drawn with Boavista, trailing the top two by 2 points. If Benfica wins this match, they will overtake Sporting Lisbon. Considering this season is largely a battle between these three Portuguese powerhouses, this match became a 6-point affair. The Estadio da Luz was packed. All the fans were looking forward to a bright future for their clubs this season. For the first 5 minutes, both sides battled fiercely, neither willing to relinquish possession. Manish, as a striker, was particularly tenacious in midfield battles, helping his team gain a slight advantage in midfield. It seemed the ball was moving more in Sporting Lisbon's half. But in the 7th minute, Matheus suddenly pressed laterally, teaming up with Deschamps to outmaneuver Benfica's midfield and win the ball back in the middle. Sporting Lisbon's attacking third was still making runs, and Benfica's defensive speed was quick, offering few good opportunities. Matheus only glanced at the ball before passing it back to Duncan, avoiding unnecessary possession. Duncan, pushed back into his own half by Manish, launched a long pass without stopping the ball. It turned out that at this moment, Ronaldo on the left wing had switched positions with Ibrahimovic in the center. Ibrahimovic was running towards the left wing. When the opponent has retreated and finished defending, it's not easy for a speedy winger like Ronaldo to receive the ball. To get him to receive it, you need to pass it behind him, which requires him to run. While running, his probability of receiving the ball is over 50%. But once the opponent has retreated, it means there's not much space left for him to run. He'll be out of bounds in just a few steps. If you don't pass it behind him and directly challenge the opponent for the ball, Ronaldo's biggest advantage disappears, and his probability of receiving the ball might only be 30%. Similarly, when passing to Quaresma, you need to pass it in front of him, allowing him to drop back a couple of steps to receive the ball. This way, his probability of receiving the ball averages to 80%. Directly targeting Quaresma means he has even less of an advantage in a duel, with a probability of receiving the ball less than 10%. But dropping back to receive the ball allows him to draw the opponent out of position, and with his agility and skill, he might be able to easily turn and fool the opponent, leading to comfortable advantage. Therefore, the opponent doesn't dare to press too hard, making it easier for Quaresma to receive the ball. However, Ibrahimovic is different. Deng Kai's long pass created a distance that allowed Ibrahimovic to challenge the opponent. Not too close, not too far, requiring no sprint or drop back from Ibrahimovic. Ibrahimovic easily received the ball, marking Benfica's right back. The opponent harassed him relentlessly from behind, but with little effect. You might think such harassment might work on a center back, but against a full back, Ibrahimovic could only apologize. With a slight touch, Ibrahimovic turned. After 2 quick feints, he suddenly flicked the ball into the box. Benfica's right back, after being knocked aside by Ibrahimovic, didn't try to challenge him again. That would be asking for trouble. He created some distance, which actually helped him defend against Ibrahimovic, as Ibrahimovic's speed wasn't too fast, and with more distance, Ibrahimovic couldn't get past him. Even with Ibrahimovic's crosses, he was confident he could block them. He could easily block the pass before Ibrahimovic could pass. This is the advantage of a small, agile player against a large, less agile player. Larger players have too much pre- and post-movement hesitation. However, bang! The ball flew into the penalty area. Benfica's right back looked terrified. He had indeed anticipated Ibrahimovic's move. But he hadn't anticipated that Ibrahimovic's legs would be this long. Taking advantage of his leg length, Ibrahimovic managed to kick the ball a little further out, even with his move anticipated, thus avoiding the opponent's interception. In the blink of an eye, Ronaldo, who had just positioned himself in the penalty area, used the force of the push to surge forward to the near post, even providing a physical challenge to the opponent as he left, preventing them from catching up. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 284 Super Gomes. Bang! A header at the near post. The ball bounced off the ground and into the goal, perfectly bypassing the Benfica goalkeeper. Goal, 1-0. Ibrahimovic played like a winger. From receiving the ball to passing, Benfica's right back simply couldn't handle him. Similarly, Ronaldo's threat in the penalty area was clearly underestimated. But with his increased height, even compared to a center forward, he's still considered above average. That was a successful positional switch. Especially Ibrahimovic, who directly made an assist from the wing, It seems he's still bothered by Manish's pre-match criticism. Trigura and Maxa are indeed excellent coaches. They even design specific tactics based on the players' psychological state to help them prove themselves. That's truly remarkable. Trigura's ability to coach young players is certainly on par with Wenger's, and of course, Maxa's tactical support for the team is indispensable. Only a team with a tactical master like Maxa can design so many specialized tactics for its players. Many people might think that there's no difference between Ibrahimovic and Drogba when they play as center forward, but actually, there are some subtle tactical differences. Drogba and Ibrahimovic don't use exactly the same tactics. In other words, at Sporting Lisbon, every player can have their own exclusive tactics, just like a core player, and there will be one or even several ways of playing the game around you. It's really wonderful. This is probably why the young players they brought in this season have performed exceptionally well. In the 19th minute, Sporting Lisbon launched another attack. Matthäus launched a long pass attack directly from the center-back position. Ibrahimovic and Quaresma switched positions, with Ibrahimovic receiving the ball on the right wing. Benfica's players already knew that you couldn't stop Ibrahimovic from receiving the ball on the wing, because Ibrahimovic is very tall and strong, and there's no high ball he can't get. So, defending Ibrahimovic on the wing, you could only create a little distance. After he controlled the ball and turned, you could try to intercept it. Bang! Ibrahimovic controlled and dribbled, directly stopping the ball on his cutting-in path, and then rushed forward. Everyone was stunned. Not to mention the precision and excellent power control of this pass, the thought process alone was different from ordinary people. Such a tall center forward, controlling the ball and then accelerating past you, isn't that outrageous? No normal person would think of that. But Ibrahimovic dared to think it, and he actually dared to do it. Ibrahimovic's explosiveness and absolute speed are excellent, but that's for a target man. Compared to wingers, he's probably even slightly slower than Manish. He definitely can't outrun them with speed. But since he did it, it means he was confident. Oh. Ibrahimovic, unexpectedly, cuts inside first, blocking the inside position. Benfica's left back is blocked behind him, unable to effect his breakthrough. The tall center forward controls the ball on the wing and then accelerates inside. Ibrahimovic seems to have opened a new world for Benfica's left back. The referee blew his whistle. Benfica couldn't stop Ibrahimovic, and finally their defensive midfielder came back and fouled him from the side. The referee blew his whistle, showed a yellow card, and awarded a free kick in a very good position. Theoretically, a left-footed player could shoot directly from there. The awkward part is that most of Sporting Lisbon's attacking players are right-footed. Cristiano Ronaldo, Quaresma, Viana, Duncan, and Ibrahimovic, players with free kick ability, are not suited for this position. Quaresma is the only one who can use the outside of his foot to execute a high-quality right-footed shot from the left-footed shooting area. Bang! Quaresma bypasses the ball, he doesn't touch it. The ball was kicked by Duncan. They decided to cross the free kick to create more opportunities. Duncan's free kick was very decisive. Not a high ball, but a semi-high one. A large arc and high speed. It circled directly into the penalty area from the right side of the goal, flying from the right side to the left side, almost parallel to the goal line. This meant that anyone on that line touching the ball could potentially create a shot. But that's only in theory. In reality, the players on the right side see the ball first, but the ball's speed is too fast, they likely won't be able to react in time. So, whether they extend their legs or heads, it's all done after the ball has left the goal. Only the players on the left flank, further back, had more time to react and make a shooting motion before the ball arrived. Bang! Ronaldo on the left slid in with a diving shot. He successfully grazed the ball. The ball hit the far post and bounced into the net. It almost went wide. Beautiful. A very fierce tactical free kick. Deng Kai's shot had so much power and curve, it wouldn't be an exaggeration to call it a shot. Except for Ronaldo at the end, no one could react in time. Even Ronaldo almost missed the ball. 2-0. Deng Kai and Ronaldo didn't waste the free kick Ibrahimovic created for them. Even against a strong opponent like Benfica, Sporting Lisbon played exceptionally fiercely today. Benfica must do something about Ibrahimovic. Almost all of Sporting Lisbon's attacking threats so far have involved him. His role is clearly incomparable to Benfica's Manish. He's like Nuno Gomes. Benfica clearly realized this problem as well. They subsequently strengthened their defense against Ibrahimovic. Ibrahimovic's field awareness wasn't as sharp, and coupled with his good footwork, he didn't immediately notice the danger. Until the 26th minute. Ibrahimovic was surrounded, and when he tried to pass, he couldn't get through. If Ibrahimovic were a winger with the instincts of Ronaldo and Quaresma, he would have had a better solution. For example, he could have taken the ball to the sideline and tried to win a throw-in for his team. Even if he gave up the throw-in, as long as he prevented the opponent's quick counter-attack, he wouldn't have given them a counter-attack opportunity. Bang! Ibrahimovic was dispossessed by Manish, who was tracking back. Manish dribbled forward, passed midfield, and passed to Gomes. Gomes passed back to midfield and then turned and ran. Benfica's midfielder played a through ball. Gomes outpaced Methalos. Font came out a little late. The connection between him and Methalos was inherently weak, making it the easiest point for the defense to exploit. And Gomes, a powerful center forward, actually exploited it. Bang! Gomes dared to unleash a long-range shot before Font could even get out. Although Schmeichel was prepared, Font still somewhat affected his judgment. And Gomez's shot was of exceptionally high quality. Goal. A deafening roar erupted from the Estadio da Luz. P.S. My family is all positive for COVID-19. Peach currently has a fever, her temperature is consistently around 37.5 degrees Celsius, and she has a headache, dizziness, sore throat, fatigue, and muscle aches. She tested positive but hasn't yet, so it might just be a regular fever. If she still has a regular fever, I'll continue to monitor her tomorrow and the day after. But regardless of whether she tests positive or not, this fever is really unbearable. I haven't been able to write more than a few words all day sitting in front of the computer. Chapter 285 Tactical Shift. Portugal's newly crowned star striker, Gomes, scored with a long-range shot, pulling one back for his team. This goal completely boosted Benfica's confidence. The fans began chanting, cheering on their team. Benfica's players then launched a strong pressing, gaining momentum. In such a situation, increasing the speed of passing is the best approach. Otherwise, whether you rely on technique or physicality, you're easily vulnerable to aggressive tackles. In the 33rd minute, Ibrahimovic was fouled by Manish and fell to the ground. He tried to hold off Manish, but Manish, in a fit of rage, went beyond the bounds of the game. The force and movement Manish used to bring down Ibrahimovic was karate level. Ibrahimovic immediately grabbed the ball after falling. Manish, however, tried to kick the ball away. Despite a clear attempt to pull back, he essentially smothered the ball on Ibrahimovic. Ibrahimovic, who had initially intended to perform a somersault on the pitch, was enraged. Forget the showmanship, he just went for it. Ibrahimovic got up and shoved Manish into the air. Manish then charged at Ibrahimovic. Their chests collided, with Manish forced to retreat, while Ibrahimovic displayed his dominance. Had his teammates not arrived quickly, Manish, who was at a disadvantage in this chest muscle collision, might have thrown a punch. The referee arrived shortly after and showed yellow cards to both Ibrahimovic and Manish. Ibrahimovic received a disciplinary yellow for provoking the incident. Manish received a normal yellow for excessive and improper defensive action. Had Manish not pulled back his leg while kicking, or had he engaged in a physical altercation with Ibrahimovic afterward, he would likely have received a red card. It can only be said that his teammates were wise enough to control this ticking time bomb. In the 39th minute, Ibrahimovic, affected by his emotions, didn't retreat as aggressively, a deliberate way for him to avoid further conflict, keeping a low profile. This was the right thing to do. Everyone needs this kind of adjustment after a conflict, otherwise the situation could worsen. But for Sporting Lisbon, the team temporarily lacked a focal point in attack. Deng Kai was isolated and helpless, suffering a dispossessed tackle. Benfica launched a counter-attack. Finally, Nuno Gomes unleashed another long-range shot, which struck Deschamps. The young man didn't care, but the old man really didn't want to be suffocated by the ball. Deschamps lay on the ground for a while. After the team doctor entered the field, he compared fingers with Deschamps. Deschamps couldn't find the doctor's finger. The doctor couldn't determine if it was a concussion or presbyopia, but signaled Trigura to substitute. Even though Deschamps repeatedly explained that he had presbyopia and that not being able to find the finger wasn't a physical problem, the doctor couldn't take the risk. At this point, the rules had to be followed. So Trigura substituted Pepe for Deschamps. Pepe had received ample playing time today and was in high spirits. Everyone thought he and Deschamps had a personal grudge. But actually, he's just a kid, nothing more, just pure fun. In the 45th minute, Ibrahimovic, having calmed down, once again began to support his teammates on the wing, becoming a pivot. But Benfica had already noticed his style of play. Under pressure, Ibrahimovic's pass went astray and was successfully intercepted by Benfica. Benfica launched another counter-attack. Gomes, off the ball, tackled the young Pepe, then received the ball, held off Font, and executed the play flawlessly. You can't say Pepe and Font did a bad job, but the result wasn't good. Gomes fired a shot from the edge of the penalty area. Schmeichel made a diving save. However, Gomes was in top form today, with a bit of luck. The ball hit the junction of the left post and crossbar and bounced into the net. It was an absolute dead corner. Gomes. 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 The Estadio da Luz erupted. Gomes equalized the score with his powerful individual ability. Every second that followed could have been the moment they took the lead. But the arrival of halftime delayed this moment slightly. In the away team's locker room, Deng Kai found Ibrahimovic and was communicating with him. In the second half, when you pass the ball out from the wing, be quick and concise. They've left the middle somewhat open to contain you. But if you slow down the pace on your side, we won't be able to capitalize on opportunities in the middle. Simply put, while both are pivotal roles, there's a pivot for passing and a pivot for controlling the ball and stabilizing the tempo. Ibrahimovic previously played the latter, which made him much more impactful. Now Deng Kai wants him to use the former, and the team's focus needs to shift to the midfielders. If Benfica doesn't notice this change in time, they'll be exploited by a stronger opponent, leading to serious problems. Most coaches' on-field adjustments and commands are primarily based on changes in the opponent's attacking focus. These adjustments are repeated and frequent. However, a coach's insight varies, and even after gaining insight, it takes time to direct. This is where the team's weakness lies. The more astute and perceptive a player is, the more likely they are to react before the coach even points it out, thus spotting opportunities. This kind of change also occurred at the start of the second half for Benfica. However, Deng Kai anticipated Benfica's intentions. Benfica was clearly exploiting the draw caused by Gomez's long-range shots. Gomes twice drifted wide within 5 minutes, creating space for Manish, who liked to participate in midfield battles. Just when you think Manish is a midfielder, he'll tell you he's actually a winger. His sudden runs into the middle are more lethal than those of ordinary midfielders. In the 58th minute, Gomes drifted wide. Manish, using Gomes as cover, dribbled from the flank towards the edge of the penalty area, preparing to shoot. Bang! Deng Kai suddenly made a bold sliding tackle from the side. If he didn't understand Manish's intentions, he wouldn't have dared to do that, because Manish could very well dribble laterally and then suddenly advance vertically. But Deng Kai knew that the Benfica coach's plan for Manish was to dribble laterally into the middle and then shoot from distance, or pass the ball to the left wing striker Sabri, who could use his speed to cut inside into the penalty area. And he wouldn't let Gomes, who had already taken 2 defenders with him, pass the ball. That's why Deng Kai dared to make the tackle. He was certain Manish would have to dribble a bit more. Sabri on the left hadn't even started his run yet, so Manish couldn't pass. Beautiful. Deng Kai makes a bold tackle, precisely poking the ball away from Manish's feet. Manish signals a foul to the referee. But the referee shakes his head in denial. Manish is a little agitated. Oh, Deng Kai passes the ball to Pepe. Pepe makes a long pass. Ibrahimovic moves to the left to receive the ball, and Ronaldo enters the penalty area through the middle. Sporting Lisbon's counter-attack comes quickly. Manish has no time to complain. He's desperately trying to get back to defend, but it seems a little too late. Chapter 286 Assist Hat-Trick. Actually, given Manish's playing style, if he plays a slightly deeper position, he can play a greater role defensively. But as a striker, he often doesn't have enough time to retreat defensively. It seems Deng Kai really understands Manish quite well. He said last season that Manish could play as a defensive midfielder. No one thought so then, but recently, looking at Manish through the lens of a defensive midfielder's standards, the more you look at him, the more he seems like it. Ibrahimovic receives the ball on the left wing. He turns, flicks the ball, and charges forward. Benfica's right back immediately accelerates. Then, Ibrahimovic's intention to go to the byline is just a feint. After a sprint, he flicks the ball inward with his left foot and flicks it with the outside of his right foot. Cut inside. The center forward Ibrahimovic cuts inside again. He cut inside once on the right in the first half. Now he's doing it again on the left. Same old story, despite not being particularly fast, Ibrahimovic dominates the inside cutting lane, blocking the opponent's advance. Benfica's right back can only watch helplessly. Ibrahimovic dribbles while constantly observing. Ronaldo starts his sprint inside the penalty area. Benfica's penalty area was in turmoil. They had to defend against Ibrahimovic's long-range shot and his pass to Ronaldo. Bang! Ibrahimovic passed a ball. But it seemed too long? No. It was a pass to the far post. Ronaldo was just setting a screen. At the far post, Quaresma arrived in a flash. Quaresma, me, hitting myself? Don't underestimate Quaresma's height. With no one marking him at the far post, his header was almost guaranteed to go wide. The ball nestled into the net. The Benfica goalkeeper had no chance to save it. Well done. 3-2. Sporting Lisbon is in the lead again. Deng Kai's tackle was crucial. It was that tackle that turned Benfica's scoring opportunity into Sporting Lisbon's. Ibrahimovic played like a highly aggressive winger. After the goal, Ibrahimovic glanced at Deng Kai during his celebration. He was a little worried about Deng Kai's reaction. Coach Kai had just told him to reduce his touches. But this assist still utilized his dribbling and physical strength, holding the ball for a relatively long time. Although the result was good, if Kai wasn't happy, he might be substituted. However, Deng Kai gave Ibrahimovic a thumbs up and winked. The implication was that he played well, but shouldn't forget to simplify things and add variety later. Ibrahimovic immediately relaxed. He was afraid of teammates who got angry at the slightest provocation. It was really unsettling. Ronaldo, who are you implying? In the 70th minute, Benfica's other striker, Sabri, unleashed his power. He's a speedster, and he played against Deng Kai and his teammates last season. He has a very distinctive style. Sabri received a pass from his teammate, using his speed to outpace Barzagli and complete a breakthrough. Pepe's movement was too wide, and he couldn't cover him immediately. Sabri then went one-on-one with Font and was brought down. But Font looked down and realized he was inside the penalty area. Whistle. The referee blew his whistle, showing Font a yellow card and pointing to the penalty spot. Font clutched his head, extremely frustrated. How could it be a penalty? At this point, a penalty, it's going to be very difficult for the team to win again. This is so unfair. Amid Font's regret, Gomes scored from the penalty spot, completing his hat-trick. 3-3. Benfica is truly on fire this time. As expected of Gomes. So strong. Absolutely unstoppable. Gomes has overtaken Ronaldo, equaled Jardel, and is tied for first place in the top scorer list. Gomes. Gomes. You are invincible, Gomes. This is the strength of Portugal's starting centre forward. No Swedish kid or French striker can even come close. One more. Gomes, one more. Benfica pressed their advantage, launching a furious attack for several minutes. They came close to scoring again. In the 77th minute, Pepe made a crucial block. Before the opponent could contest the ball, Duncan passed it to Viana. A slight delay would have resulted in the interception. Viana quickly passed it back to Terry. Terry then passed to Duncan, and Duncan passed to Viana. This slightly slowed down Benfica's pace. Sporting Lisbon, after conceding, finally managed to get the ball into the opponent's half and begin organizing an attack. This opportunity was mainly due to Benfica's players being exhausted from their previous pressing. Ronaldo tried a move on the left wing, a step over followed by a long-range shot that was blocked. Wow, he didn't even manage to dribble past them. Ronaldo quickly passed a hot ball to Viana. His skills weren't fully developed yet, so he needed to keep a low profile. Meanwhile, Ibrahimovic moved to the wing. Quaresma ran into the penalty area to cover Ibrahimovic's position, but as soon as he entered the box, he immediately turned and dropped back, positioning himself on the right flank to receive the ball. If Viana passed, Quaresma could take a long-range shot. His long-range shots from this area are quite threatening. Bang! Viana chipped the ball in. Not to Quaresma, but to Ibrahimovic, who had moved out of the box and then run back to the far post. So, this positional switch was a feint by both players. This tactic is quite complex. Viana's lobbed pass was too long, or perhaps he hadn't expected Ibrahimovic to be so agile and actually get into position. This made Viana's pass too far back. By the time Ibrahimovic turned to reach the ball, it was too late. Bang! At the crucial moment, Ibrahimovic flicked his right foot back with a scorpion kick, sending the ball into the penalty area. Ronaldo cut inside without the ball, but was positioned on the left side of the goal. Ibrahimovic's scorpion kick lobbed the ball to the right side of the goal. Because of the distance and the number of players in the penalty area, the Benfica goalkeeper didn't come out. In the middle of the penalty area, Deng Kai also rushed in to try and get a header. With Ibrahimovic, Quaresma, and Ronaldo pulling him back, he only had one centre-back nearby, and even that wasn't completely marking him. But precisely because of this, Deng Kai rushed too close to the goal. By the time Ibrahimovic's lobbed pass came out, Deng Kai had already passed him. Bang! The ball landed. Deng Kai half-turned to face Ibrahimovic, sideways to the goal, and hooked his right leg behind him. A reverse scorpion kick. The ball rolled behind him towards the goal. Not fast, but incredibly unexpected. The Benfica goalkeeper practically watched the ball roll into the net before he could adjust his balance and kick it away. Deng Kai and the other players raised their hands to signal a goal. The referee blew his whistle and pointed to the center circle, indicating the goal was valid. The ball had completely crossed the goal line. 4-3. Sporting Lisbon takes the lead for the third time this match. Their opponents are tenacious, but they are just as strong. Ibrahimovic and Deng Kai completed the relay with two different scorpion kicks. This is the similar reaction of genius players in special situations. They can think of it, and they can do it. Oh. Incredible. Ibrahimovic has 3 assists in this match. An assist hat-trick. P.S. There's really no way to update today, please bear with me. I could only stay huddled under the covers, even a slight chill made me nauseous, and my body temperature fluctuated between 37.5 and 38.5 degrees Celsius. I was going to delete my thoughts from last night, but seeing so many readers encouraging me warmed my heart, so I'll keep it as a memento. Thank you everyone, my readers are surprisingly kind. Chapter 287 3 Hats. Let's congratulate Ibrahimovic. This young player has undoubtedly adapted to the pace of the Portuguese league. Gomez's hat-trick of goals. Ibrahimovic's hat-trick of assists. These two strikers are truly undisputed leaders. Pinto is already warming up. The Benfica fans in the stands at the Estádio da Luz are in a frenzy. They're furious about conceding goals, but they should applaud their former club legend as he takes the field. Pinto, on the other hand, seems quite calm. It seems he's prepared for anything. Applause erupts. Well done, Benfica fans. They haven't lost the tradition and dignity of a top club. Even when trailing, they still give their former legendary striker a warm round of applause. There's also a banner with Pinto's image in the stands. Benfica is a club with a human touch. Their human touch was highly controversial after the dismissal of Veloso. Coincidentally, Veloso currently plays for Sporting Lisbon, performing exceptionally well in the U19 league and is a key defensive midfielder for the team. Ibrahimovic was initially disappointed, feeling he had played comfortably today but was about to be substituted. However, Pinto unexpectedly replaced Quaresma instead. Additionally, veteran midfielder Bento replaced Matheus, Trigueiro having used up his substitutions. Both players had previously been fouled and were feeling unwell. Trigueiro chose to use new players over letting them continue playing. It wasn't that Trigueiro thought players with waning stamina were inferior to ordinary players, but rather that he was worried about these two getting injured. They are indispensable players for the team. Quaresma? Last season I was one of the two core players, now I'm just an important player? In the 84th minute, Ibrahimovic's continuous stretching on the wing caused Benfica significant trouble. They couldn't completely contain him, especially after he streamlined his passing. Although he mostly received the ball and passed it back, could you afford to leave him open? Ibrahimovic's 2 previous cuts inside and several crosses had already proven he was a true winger. If you dared to leave him open, he would dare to break through. Benfica's central defense was constantly stretched thin. Even though Manesh tried to patch every gap in their defense, at this moment, they couldn't escape Deng Kai's machinations. Deng Kai launched a no-look through ball. A straight pass passed past Manesh and 2 other Benfica players. Any one of them intercepting it could have launched a fatal counter-attack against Sporting Lisbon. But the ball was there. The most unexpected routes seem dangerous, but they are actually safe. Whistle. Inside the penalty area, Ronaldo, chasing the ball without it, was brought down. The referee awarded another penalty. Ronaldo barely hesitated, springing up and flashing a wide grin as he clutched the ball. Penalty. He could finally take a penalty. especially since this penalty came less than 10 minutes after Quaresma and Matthäus were substituted. At this moment, the penalty taker on the field was only Cristiano. Deng Kai walked towards Ronaldo. Ronaldo was stunned. "No way, Ronaldo, you remember to flatten the penalty spot a bit," Deng Kai reminded Ronaldo. Ronaldo breathed a sigh of relief. If Deng Kai had actually asked, Ronaldo would have had to pass the ball, no matter how reluctant he was. Otherwise, he might never get another brilliant pass from Deng Kai. He was good at this basic math. Then, Ronaldo converted the penalty he had created himself. Similarly, having scored twice in the opening 19 minutes, he finally completed his hat-trick. Another hat-trick. Ronaldo has scored 3 goals. 5-3. The dust has settled. Benfica is likely to lose. Sporting Lisbon withstood the test, their momentum is too fierce. The young players Tragura brought in this year have all shown great talent and potential. They officially have the potential to contend for the Portuguese league title this year. After the match, Ronaldo, who completed the hat-trick, along with Gomes and Ibrahimovic, who provided 3 assists, all received the highest ratings of the game. The Man of the Match award went to Ibrahimovic, marking his first time receiving such a single match award in the Portuguese league. Cristiano Ronaldo was equally delighted, as he had quietly overtaken Jardel and Gomes in league goals, temporarily taking the top spot in the scoring charts with 11 goals. Reporters immediately congratulated both Ronaldo and Ibrahimovic. Reporter: "Congratulations, Ronaldo. Did you ever imagine you'd temporarily top the Portuguese league scoring charts?" Ronaldo: "I never thought about temporarily topping the charts. I think I can stay at the top." The reporter was sweating profusely. After a year, Cristiano was still as arrogant as ever. Perhaps a more discreet interview would be better. Reporter: "Ibrahimovic, you played exceptionally well today. How was it playing against Portugal's newly crowned top striker, Gomes? Your performance was even comparable to his." Ibrahimovic: "Today was the first time I truly showcased my abilities, and I'm very satisfied with today's game. I'm Swede, not Portuguese, so I know I can't become Portugal's top striker. But at the end of the season, I will be the top striker in the Portuguese league." The reporter immediately shut up. Wow. Is Sporting Lisbon really so focused on encouragement-based training? Do all the players think they were the best? Let's talk about Quaresma. He's a player with brains. Reporter: "Quaresma, you've scored 7 goals and provided 5 assists in 7 Portuguese league matches, making you the best player in the league right now. What do you think is the reason for this?" Quaresma: "Of course, it's because Barcelona didn't sign me this summer. Now, even if they pay twice the agreed transfer fee, they still can't get me. Crazy. This team has gone mad." The reporter finally found Deng Kai, who is mentally prepared because Deng Kai topped the Portuguese league's assist chart with 8 assists, and he's only 15. Reporter: "Deng Kai, how would you rate your team? We know you've achieved good results, but at the same time, you're so young. Are you confident in handling the complex second half of the season?" Deng Kai humbly replied: "Actually, we haven't performed well enough. Many players haven't truly developed their strengths, and there's a lack of teamwork between teammates." The reporter nodded repeatedly. Finally, a normal person had appeared. "Deng Kai, don't be fooled by Ronaldo's high goal tally. He still has a lot to improve. He has a long way to go before becoming the world's best goal scorer. Ibrahimovic is an ambitious center forward. He's a giant artist in this position. Next season or the season after, when we have better chemistry, he might show even more potential. At that time, I have no doubt he will be a contender for the title of the world's best center forward." Chapter 288: The True Value of Sex Hockey Stick. Drogba's body still needs some time to adjust. Although he's already physically strong enough, there's still room for improvement. He will become one of the most impactful strikers in the world. Pepe. The reporter fled in disarray. Good heavens. So you guys are a bunch of superstars playing in the Portuguese league? That's really beneath you. You should be playing in the Champions League. Judging from your tone, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, the Premier League giants, and the Serie A 7 sisters aren't enough for you, are they? Following this, related news articles flooded the media. The Lisbon derby is over. Sporting Lisbon finally triumphs after years of waiting, taking home a glorious victory from the Estadio da Luz. Gomes's hat-trick couldn't save the day. Sporting Lisbon's hat-trick crushed them. Cristiano scores and completes a hat-trick, topping the Portuguese league's top scorer list. Jardel and Gomes were both overshadowed. Why does the seemingly ordinary Ronaldo always manage to score? Swedish genius fulfills his potential. Ibrahimovic assists and completes a hat-trick. The best goal of the 7th round of the Portuguese league. Scorpion kick relay. Ibrahimovic's brilliant assist. Deng Kai's spectacular goal. Deschamps injured. Can Brazilian youngster Pepe perfectly replace him? Classic match replay brings you fresh analysis. Barcelona suffers a huge loss. Quaresma is the best in the Portuguese league? Barcelona shouldn't even ask for less than €15 million if they still want him. Sporting Lisbon's talented veteran Simeo is being sidelined. His career development is not as expected, and he may leave Barcelona in the winter transfer window. You have won a match. Post-match rating S rewards received, basic gift pack 10, and the player dropped the glory of Portugal's golden generation, 3-5. The glory of Portugal's golden generation, 3/5. The golden generation generally refers to players born between 1969 and 1974 who participated in the 1989 and 1991 World Youth Championships but did not win the title for Portugal. However, there are exceptions, such as Nuno Gomes, who joined the group due to his younger age and outstanding performance in the 2000 European Championship. Shooting +5. The player drop actually, I'm not called Gomes evolves into King of Titles. Collect all the glory to receive generous rewards. King of Titles, evolved from actually, I'm not called Gomes. Shooting ability +5. Whenever you obtain a recognized title, you will randomly gain the personal skills of the player with the original title. What else is there to say? How many more tears are to shed? This King of Titles is truly amazing. Quaresma, the king of the outside of the foot. Ibrahimovic, the god. Drogba, the beast. Pepe the monk. Perpetual motion machine, steel god of war, mighty cannon Mathos. Wow, this is a big spender. Danish giant Schmeichel, but the goalkeeper position is a bit unrealistic. Cristiano Ronaldo, he's at a disadvantage, so let's not compete with Ronaldo. Looking around, Terry is clearly not up to par. We can't exactly call him the Chelsea captain, can we? Deng Kai silently bowed to his teammates, and could only apologize to his brothers in advance. Since we all have such a good relationship, what's yours is mine. King of Titles is an item drop, requiring it to be equipped to take effect. Deng Kai's equipped slots are Guardiola's tears, which increases vision, and Robin's socks, which increases right-wing breakthroughs, greatly improving left-footed shooting ability after a breakthrough. Both are essential. Only sex hockey stick is something Deng Kai has disliked for a long time. But last time the system recycled it, Deng Kai couldn't bear to part with it. After all, if the slot is empty, it's better to put something on it than to have nothing. Goodbye, you little loser. Deng Kai took sex hockey stick, intending to click to dismantle and recycle it. You have removed the item sex hockey stick. It seems its help to you is now negligible. You have the right to convert it into time card, releasing its final brilliance. Yes or no? Yes. You have obtained the time card. Sek who didn't want to be a tank soldier. October 14, 2006, Premier League Round 8. Chelsea goalkeeper Sek was kicked in the head by Reading striker Hunt during a match, fracturing his skull. After 3 hours of surgery and 2 days in a coma, he finally woke up and had to wear a protective helmet, a tank helmet, to play the match. Using this time card, you will possess all of Sek's abilities for one match, but you also have an obligation to prevent this moment from happening. Holy crap! 200 chapters already, and this piece of junk actually works. Can you believe this is foreshadowing? Sek. This time card, hockey stick, I underestimated you. I never thought you could be reused. However, to be fair, without that injury, Sek would undoubtedly be the strongest contender for the world's best goalkeeper. After the injury, while he maintained an exceptionally high level of saves, his physical condition and awareness were noticeably different. To exaggerate slightly, he risked his life in every match afterward. If possible, Deng Kai also hoped that Sek wouldn't suffer this life-threatening, career-ending injury. Using this moment card is a bit unrealistic. First, he wouldn't be a goalkeeper. Second, even if the goalkeeper were injured, the team's large group of 1.9-meter-tall teammates wouldn't let their 1.7-meter-tall brother be the goalkeeper. In goalkeeping, a shorter player is more dangerous, a longer player is more powerful. You are wearing the King of Star Drops title. It has been detected that you already possess the title. Please select a target to randomly acquire their skills. 3 Caesar messages appeared before Deng Kai's eyes. The first is Gaius Julius Caesar, whose skill bar is filled with military and political skills. A very few are useful for team leadership, but anyone with a brain wouldn't choose him. The second is Carlos Caesar, whose skill bar is full of performance and deception skills. You could say they were useful, but at least you wouldn't need to go to La Masia for further training. The third is Franz Beckenbauer, the German football emperor, the Kaiser of football. Need you even think about it? Ling. You have selected Franz Beckenbauer, gaining the golden legendary skill Beckenbauer's passing and shooting, Beckenbauer style passing and shooting. Beckenbauer is recognized as the founder of the outside of the foot technique. His high arc outside of the foot passing and shooting is unparalleled. Long pass +2, shooting +2. Your outside of the foot passing and shooting ability is greatly enhanced. When the ball you pass with your outside of the foot is higher than the crossbar, there is a very high chance that the ball will drop sharply. It's basically an enhanced version of the outside of the foot passing and shooting, with the added effect of a sharp drop shot. Explosion. This match against Benfica was absolutely explosive for Deng Kai. The third fragment of Portugal's golden generation's glory. Star player Gomes upgraded. Golden legend skill Beckenbauer scored and assisted. Sex moment card. On the most direct paper data, Deng Kai's shooting ability has jumped from 68 to 80. What does that mean? Any midfielder with an 80 shooting ability is considered to have a very good shot. Chapter 289 Zero assist winger. Leicester City midfielder Yuri Tielemans, who frequently contributes spectacular goals, and former Barcelona and Croatian star Ivan Rakitic, both have shooting statistics in the low 80s. Even among forwards, many have shooting statistics around 80, right? Sterling, Werner? Premier League shooting. Deng Kai's scoring ability has improved by leaps and bounds. He feels it's time to start designing some specific tactics and training for scoring. On October 27, the 4th round of the Portuguese Cup kicked off. Sporting Lisbon joined the fray, drawing against Portuguese second-tier team Vizela. Vizela was devastated. This team had once hoped for promotion last season, but was ultimately defeated by Rio Ave and Moreirense in the final moments, failing to advance and remaining in the Portuguese second division. Moreirense was the team led by Deng Kai and Cristiano Ronaldo. Now, with their enemies meeting, naturally, nothing happened. Simply because the two were no longer on the same level. Trigura made significant rotations in this match, giving more opportunities to substitute players. Left winger Quaime Ayew, center forwards Zlatan Ibrahimovic, and right winger João Pinto. Substitute midfielder Barbosa got a starting opportunity in the left attacking midfield position today. The right attacking midfield position was also slated for a change, but Deng Kai coughed slightly and said, letting the substitutes play, besides helping them find their form, also means letting the key players get used to them. If the midfield core is changed, then this game is meaningless except for giving us a rest. Maxi immediately agreed, we should give young players more experience. For capable players, we should give them more responsibility. Kai is young and capable. If he's willing, I hope he can play the entire season. In the end, Deng Kai remained in the starting lineup. The two holding midfielders were Paulo Bento and Pepe. Dechamp's previous injury, after testing, revealed that it wasn't just presbyopia. He had a mild concussion and needs a period of rest before returning to the field. It's estimated that it will take at least a month before he passes the tests and can play again. Besides this match, he's expected to miss several more games. In defense, substitute center-backs Marcos and Facundo got starting opportunities, while Barzagli, being a homegrown player and with significantly higher potential, received more development opportunities and started. Font, I understand Terry is on loan from Chelsea, but does that mean I'm also someone else's player? Barzagli, can't you see the word significantly higher potential? The goalkeeper was also a substitute. From any angle, this team doesn't seem strong. But actually, compared to Moreirense, who beat Vizela last season, this Sporting Lisbon substitute lineup is actually better. Isn't Ibrahimovic a dozen levels above Anderson? Pinto, no matter how old, is still a Benfica legend, not someone Flavio can compare to. Bento is a fringe international, isn't he better than Marseille's? Pepe is even more of a world-class star, Moreirense can't find a player close to that level. Gilip and Alex are full of talent, and the gap between them and Barzagli is probably the smallest among these combinations. Their future in the Portuguese league shouldn't be a problem, but reaching world-class status is unlikely. Therefore, the result of this match was self-evident. In the 5th minute, Ibrahimovic's brilliant shot in the penalty area directly won a penalty. João Pinto converted it, giving his team the lead. In the 36th minute, Pepe passed across, and Deng Kai scored with a long-range shot from outside the penalty area. In the second half, in the 77th minute, Deng Kai chipped a pass with the outside of his foot, and Ibrahimovic received the ball, dribbled past a defender, turned, and fired a shot, a perfect finish. 3-0, Sporting Lisbon easily advanced to the 5th round. October 31st, Portuguese League Round 8. Sporting Lisbon defeated Aves convincingly. November 8th, Portuguese League Round 9. Sporting Lisbon's form began to fluctuate, and after taking the lead, they were overtaken by Guimarães, suffering their first defeat of the season. Pepe's red card at the start of the second half was a key factor. His rashness put the team on the back foot. November 14th, Portuguese League Round 10. Sporting Lisbon, lacking a defensive midfielder, partnered Paulo Bento with Matheus. The two players have somewhat similar styles, but Bento is essentially a bankrupt version of Matheus, and their defensive coordination is problematic. Ultimately, even with their own striker scoring 4 goals, they barely managed a draw against Ferreira. In 3 games, Deng Kai has 2 goals and 1 assist, seemingly good, but slightly lower than his previous efficiency. Many say this is normal efficiency. Moreover, they predict Deng Kai's efficiency will further decline in the second half of the season, returning to its true normal value. But actually, Deng Kai is simply adjusting his long-range shooting. He has the technique and shooting ability, the only thing he lacks is power. Therefore, his shots inside the penalty area are strong, but his long-range shots are still lacking. But midfielders get the most opportunities from long-range shots. Deng Kai is still adjusting his tactics and his own abilities. Quaresma has 3 goals and 1 assist, in incredibly good form. Ronaldo has 2 goals in 3 games, his form has declined. As Deng Kai's long-range shots have significantly increased, Ronaldo's goals have decreased in a positive correlation. Who is the dominant player is self-evident. Unfortunately, after these few matches, Porto's star striker Jardel overtook Ronaldo to reclaim the Portuguese league's top scorer title with 15 goals, displaying red-hot form. Viana contributed 2 assists, bringing his personal statistics to 2 goals and 5 assists. For a midfielder, these are quite good statistics. But compared to Deng Kai's 5 goals and 9 assists, it seems to be a fraction of that. This is because Viana's actual position on the field is much deeper than Deng Kai's. He is a true midfielder, while Deng Kai is the true attacking midfielder. This all started when Deng Kai previously tricked Viana into returning to receive the ball. Viana only realized this after playing for almost half the season. No wonder Deng Kai and Ronaldo have such a good relationship, but he didn't play on the left wing, instead choosing the right. It seems that Ronaldo on the left lacks the ability to control the ball, dribble past opponents when he doesn't have enough speed, requiring the midfielder to frequently drop back to receive the ball. On the right wing, Quaresma can dribble the ball from the backfield to the front, allowing the attacking midfielder who partners with him to reap the rewards. The difference in statistics between Viana and Duncan is basically the same as the difference in assists between Ronaldo and Quaresma. The latter has 10 goals and 6 assists, while the former has 13 goals and 0 assists. You read that right. 10 rounds of the league have been played. Left winger Ronaldo still has 0 assists. He's really something. Most strikers need to provide at least a few assists. Trying to go without assists is almost as easy as winning the assist title or top scorer title. Without going through some truly grueling experience, you really can't develop that kind of thick skin. P.S. I'm not feverish today, and my condition is improving. Although my throat hurts, as long as I'm not dizzy, I can write. But after writing for a while, I felt a little nauseous. Later, I realized that any rapid eye movement causes this dizziness and nausea. Does anyone know what's going on? I'll try to resume normal updates tomorrow or the day after. Chapter 290. The referee is the director. How could he possibly never pass me a threatening ball? The on-field conflict at Viana does unknowingly shifted from Deng Kai to Ronaldo. Other players also performed well in these 3 matches. Matheus scored and assisted, while Pinto and Font each provided an assist. The loss and draw in the 9th and 10th rounds allowed Porto to catch up in points. Sporting Lisbon leads the group on goal difference, but the two teams' goal differences are actually quite similar. With Jardel and Deco working together, Porto is currently unstoppable. On November 19th, the third round of the Europa League group stage will take place. This is the first leg between Sporting Lisbon and Rosenborg. Rosenborg lost to Anderlecht in the first two rounds. But those who watched the matches know that their losses weren't significant. They still have considerable strength. They are significantly stronger than Gaziantep Sporting, who are generally considered stronger in this group. Therefore, it won't be easy for Sporting Lisbon to defeat them, especially considering their recent ups and downs in the league. Rosenborg just happened to sweep them away. If they beat Sporting Lisbon, they still have a chance to advance from the group stage. However, this match showed something unusual from the start. In the 7th minute, Quaresma was fouled while dribbling past a defender on the wing, but the referee didn't whistle. Rosenborg capitalized on this with a dangerous attack, but their final shot was brilliantly saved by Schmeichel. In the 13th minute, Ibrahimovic received a pass just outside the penalty area and was brought down by a centre-back coming from behind. Sporting Lisbon protested, but the referee ignored them. Fuck. If he doesn't need his eyes, he can donate them. Maxa cursed angrily on the sidelines. The fourth referee glanced at Maxa, who immediately shrank back to the coaching and substitutes bench and asked Trigura, "Was this a fixed match? Was it a biased refereeing decision?" Trigura shook his head, "We can't be sure yet." Maxa, "The manipulation is so obvious and you still can't be sure?" Trigura said, "Indeed, the manipulation seems very obvious at the moment, but all matches are manipulated. The director is always on the field, but ordinary fans never see the manipulator." Maxa, "You mean, the head coach? Then what is this if not a biased refereeing decision?" Trigura said, "That depends on the other side's intentions. Absolute fairness doesn't exist. UEFA's goal, besides making easy money, is to ensure the excitement of the matches and to make each year's script full of tension. Rosenborg has already lost 2 rounds, while we've won 2. If we win this round and they lose, then the situation will become clearer a little sooner. If Anderlecht next door only draws 1 game, then the qualification spots will be decided directly in the next round. The last 2 rounds will become meaningless. Most fans won't pay for such meaningless matches. UEFA needs to ensure the matches are exciting. If possible, they would like all matches to be decided in the last round. This would increase both revenue and the impact of the matches by several levels. So far, the referee has been very lenient with fouls, which benefits Rosenborg, who is mainly responsible for defense. But if Rosenborg takes the lead, his leniency will decrease drastically, and he will blow the whistle almost every time someone falls to the ground. If you say he's biased, he has been consistent in his leniency towards both sides. If you say he's not biased, knowledgeable fans can't ignore such obvious manipulation. Maxa gritted his teeth, "They're too arrogant." Trigura, on the other hand, was quite optimistic, more or less, but it's not entirely a bad thing. Upsets need a breeding ground, dark horses need to be nurtured, and miracles are born under certain conditions. If you consider the major leagues, the UEFA Cup, the Champions League, the European Championship, and the World Cup as absolutely fair, sacred, inviolable, and blasphemous wars, then this attempt to manipulate matches to make them more exciting is simply unforgivable. But if you view it as a carefully planned, scripted variety show or movie TV series that also gives the actors some creative freedom, your experience might not be so bad. Many people claim to be the first type, but their wallets and their focus on the matches honestly reflect that they actually prefer the second type. With their current strength, and Deng Kai's on-field insight and adjustment abilities, as long as the referees maintain consistency in their officiating standards, our probability of advancing from this group is almost 100%. The only difference is 1 round earlier or later. But in the knockout stage, we'll mostly face strong teams from the top 5 leagues, teams ranked 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th in top-tier competitions, and Champions League level teams. At that time, we'll be like the current Rosenborg. Max's expression brightened, and he exclaimed in utter disbelief, "You mean, UEFA will help us win?" Trigura rubbed his forehead. "That's it? The future Cruyff and Ferguson of Portugal's coaching career? Is that all the ambition they have? Waiting for the referee to win for them?" Trigura shook his head. "They'll limit the strong team's attacks early on, but regardless of whether we can capitalize on that time, they'll loosen their grip on the strong teams in the last 20 minutes. Even if a strong team wins, It's a close call, will still be honorable to lose. If a strong team fails to seize their opportunities, then we've pulled off an upset, the lion woke up too late. During this period, we can also use penalties to equalize or give the other team hope, etc. The difference between a renowned referee and an ordinary referee is that the latter only makes calls. The former directs a thrilling match that can't be replayed. Any renowned referee is worthy of an Oscar nomination for Best Director. Those who make replays become biased referees, equivalent to directors in the film industry who are famous but have made many bad movies. But regardless of the type, someone will come to you asking you to direct. Because even if you're a bad movie director, at least you know what your real task is. Capital is more effective than that of idealistic new directors. Since the fourth referee had already noticed this, Trigger used director more often to refer to the main referee, which didn't affect the meaning. But it was clear that Maxa didn't quite understand. He's just a janitor, his job of grooming and horse riding is already exhausting enough. He wouldn't have time to watch a movie. Even if he did, the director would probably just yell, "That's the pose, hold it, yes, don't move," expression, make it more stimulating. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 291 The Civilization Warrior, Saint Sei. Back on the pitch. 22 minutes. Deng Kai had figured out the referee's standards. So, in a tackle, he completed an interception in the attacking third with a foul. Even without the shooting prowess of players like the Black Panther Hunter and the mediocre winger Schweinsteiger, Deng Kai's 80-point shooting ability was enough for him to score from a short distance from the penalty spot, unmarked. Goal. Deng Kai scored. He seems harmless, but his tackling in the attacking third is always impressive. Wait, doesn't that count? The referee blows his whistle, disallowing the goal. Oh, so it's a foul on Deng Kai's tackle. Indeed, taken individually, that action definitely qualifies as a foul. See, the commentator definitely knows football, hence the insightful commentary. The phrase taken individually basically reveals everything. Any more and I'll get my salary docked. Similarly, Deng Kai was extremely dissatisfied this time, rushing directly at the referee. Are you sure that was a foul? The referee, I'm sure, move aside. Deng Kai blocked the referee's path, refusing to budge. Are you really sure? If my action was a foul, then how many fouls has Rosenberg committed before that? The referee frowned. You dare say that? He started reaching into his pocket. Deng Kai knew he couldn't escape the card, so he bluntly stated, the whole of Portugal is watching this match, many knowledgeable people can understand what you're whistling. The referee was furious, his hand, which had been in his pocket, moved behind him. He was preparing to pull out a red card. But Deng Kai remained completely calm, his eyes fixed on the referee like a fierce French bulldog. Crucially, his eyes were incredibly sharp. Even the referee felt a little uneasy. In the past 2 years of betting, who didn't know Deng Kai? This kid had caused the Portuguese betting agencies huge losses. What? The referee can't gamble on the game. Did the author make a mistake? See, the author definitely knows football, so their typing is quite intuitive. If they keep typing, they'll lose their royalties. If Deng Kai is sent off directly, there might be trouble after the game. Actually, this yellow card was already a stretch. Don't be fooled by Deng Kai's seemingly bad attitude. Arguing with the referee after a foul and goal being disallowed seems wrong, but everyone knows the truth. Even if you were the referee, you'd have to accept Deng Kai's questioning at that moment. Giving a yellow card after a goal is a dirty trick is inherently unfair. Fuck bait, fuck you, calling you an eyeball is too kind, you're just two bogey seeds, ghostly, brainless bastard. After Deng Kai's goal was disallowed, Maxa rushed to the sideline, unleashing his full power. To achieve seamless communication with Kai, he, who had never been good at reading, actually memorized Chinese this time, and even learned some of Kai's hometown dialect. Don't be fooled by Kai's multilingualism, people are most comfortable with their native accent. Why do you think Kai spoke the most to Maxi? Other goals being disallowed is one thing, but you dared to disallow Kai's? You didn't just disallow a goal, you disallowed art. You disallowed Maxi's soul. Such intense insults couldn't possibly go unnoticed by the referee. The referee, quick-witted, ran towards Maxi, showing him a red card as he ran. You Get out. Maxi was stunned. Is it really necessary? Am I being wronged? You even speak Sichuan dialect? The commentator remarked, Maxi has a very strong temper, he won't allow his players to suffer any injustice or misjudgment. He's a good coach, no wonder Portuguese fans affectionately call him Saint Maxi. Rather than saying he was sent off with a red card, it's more accurate to say he stormed off. This was to express his protest against the referee's unfair decisions in this match. He's a civilized fighter. After this commotion, the referee seemed to have forgotten about Deng Kai's yellow card. The Rosenborg players, thinking the referee had forgotten, kindly reminded him that he should also give Deng Kai a yellow card. The referee initially pretended not to hear, but after being pulled back, he declared, I don't need you to teach me how to officiate. It's not because you guys are bad that I have to go to such lengths to help you. The Rosenborg players were completely bewildered. What was wrong with their godfather? This conflict greatly affected the mentality of both teams. Sporting Lisbon players were unsure of the referee's standards, and to avoid being targeted, their defensive actions became increasingly clean. Clean, however, meant insufficient defensive effort. In the 31st minute, Pepe, who had started since Dechamp's concussion, played a through ball, which was intercepted by Rosenborg. Rosenborg launched a quick counter-attack. Sporting Lisbon didn't lose position, but repeatedly missed opportunities due to insufficient defensive effort, ultimately conceding a goal 1-0, Rosenborg took the lead. The defenders bear a large share of the blame for this goal conceded. However, Pepe also bears significant responsibility. Despite his young age and primary role as a substitute, his passing ability is far superior to that of Terry and Barzagli, especially in long passes, where he is far ahead. He's even more so than players like Font. However, this has led Pepe to frequently initiate through balls in recent matches, showing an eagerness to succeed. This contradicts the fundamental principles of the big circle tactic. The big circle tactic is a U-shaped formation, providing extremely strong control of the ball. Losing possession on the flanks is not a problem. The real weakness is having this flank breached. And when Pepe's through ball is intercepted, it becomes incredibly easy for the opponent to penetrate that flank. Seeing this, Deng Kai immediately gestured, indicating that his teammates on both sides should move into off-the-ball mode, avoiding close marking opportunities. Fouls during contact with the opponent rely heavily on the referee's skill and conscience. And in this match, the referee clearly lacked compassion. Therefore, the flying disc tactic is a better choice. Not a yoga-style flying disc. It's a tactic of throwing the ball like a frisbee behind the opponent's defense, then having the two speedsters on the flanks chase it, using their absolute speed to tear apart the opponent's defense and create opportunities. Quaresma isn't just technically unmatched in the team, his speed is also top tier. Ronaldo's speed is even more exceptional. These two speedsters are incredibly agile and can adapt well to a high-speed attack. Ronaldo, agile? So you like to praise people like that? With this kind of high-speed approach, as long as you can get the speed up, the opponent will either commit a clear foul or won't even have a chance to foul. Of course, it's easier said than done. Rosenborg is playing a defensive counter-attacking style today. After scoring, they dropped their formation a bit. There wasn't much space left for Quaresma and Ronaldo on the flanks. At this distance, they might not be able to really get going. Yesterday I thought I could get better, but there's a mole in the house. Last night, Peach, who has a history of insomnia, finally fell asleep at 10 p.m., only to have her dad burst in at 11 p.m. with a booming voice asking, "Why is the power out?" waking her up. What does a power outage have to do with me? I should pay for the charging. I should ask the property management. I should call the power company. Sure enough, after all this commotion, Peach didn't fall asleep until 3 or 4 a.m. last night. Then she woke up at 11 a.m. today, her throat sore again, and more importantly, her chest uncomfortable, feeling very tired and struggling to breathe. Forget typing, even sitting or lying down was difficult. She could only take medicine and sleep all afternoon before feeling a little better. For COVID-19, rest is key. Friends who have just tested negative should avoid strenuous exercise, it's very dangerous. The designer who helped Peach's house renovate this summer was a very kind person with 2 daughters. Yesterday, I learned that her 5-year-old daughter passed away from COVID-19. She couldn't be saved at West China Hospital in Chengdu. My condolences. To add, after Peach tested positive, she sent the only family member who hadn't tested positive yet, Da Chan, to the new house tear out the formaldehyde. Fortunately, he's still negative, so Peach's kindness hasn't been in vain. During this time, Teozi was cared for by her father, who recovered very quickly and was the first to recover. He would bring her tea and water to her bedside, so he temporarily developed the habit of simply opening the door, but it wasn't inconvenient in the dead of winter. The main problem was that Teozi hadn't been sleeping well, but poor sleep can drastically lower immunity, which can be fatal. But her father just doesn't learn his lesson. Even after recovering, he went out to play mahjong. Chapter 292 Target, King of the outside of the foot. The advantage of speed isn't as significant. In situations like this, the passer's skill is crucial. As mentioned before, in Portugal's match at the Qatar World Cup, a player repeatedly made long through balls from less than 20 meters from the byline on the right, causing the ball to go out of bounds. But Deng Kai isn't that Portuguese player. Bang! Deng Kai's through ball flew out of bounds like a shot. Ronaldo didn't even run, he turned to look at Deng Kai, as if to say, "Are you kidding me? If you move the ball back 10 meters, I still wouldn't be able to catch it. Are your enemies in the advertising boards? Are you really going to blast the advertising boards?" Deng Kai smiled awkwardly and gave Ronaldo a thumbs up. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up solves everything. De Bruyne is still too unconventional, oh no, too unpredictable. His passing is too inconsistent. He still can't control his 79 short passes and 74 long passes. In the 39th minute, Deng Kai drifted back to his position on the right wing, then switched positions with Quaresma, preparing to cross from the wing. Bang! Halfway through the positional switch, Deng Kai made a diagonal pass, exactly like the one he had made to Ronaldo before. But this time, his touch was much better. Quaresma turned and shook off his defender. As long as his teammate passed well, even if the sprint distance wasn't enough, he could still play a through ball. However, this ball was a diagonal pass towards the edge of the penalty area. When Quaresma got rid of his opponent, he was still inside the penalty area, so the opponent didn't dare to deliberately foul him. Regardless of whether the referee is on your side or not, professional players still have this kind of vigilance. Moreover, the ball was moving outwards, so Quaresma wouldn't have much of a threat if he received it. Bang! After catching up with the ball, Quaresma didn't stop it. Instead, he took an extra step and went out of bounds first, reaching the front of the ball. Bang! He made a cutback pass without stopping the ball. It was still the outside of his foot. A pass that looked like a shot. Suddenly, there was a lot of tension in the Rosenborg penalty area. Because most people didn't expect it to be a reverse curve, or a C-shaped pass, many people missed the opportunity to intercept the ball. A perfectly curved pass from that position would have been far more threatening. Suddenly, a giant appeared out of nowhere. Ibrahimovic descended from the sky, heading the ball, a move he's not known for. In mid-air, he was less than 2 meters from the goalkeeper. Even if he hadn't jumped to head the ball, it might have been a direct goal at the far post. Quaresma's outside of the foot technique was truly masterful. The commentators were ecstatic. Sporting Lisbon equalizes. A brilliant through ball from Duncan, Quaresma's superb pass, and Ibrahimovic's header finds the back of the net. This young Lisbon team had been in trouble, but it seems they've found a way to break the deadlock. Quaresma's pass was particularly commendable. He actually had two other options. The first was to catch up with the ball, control it, and then pass. But that would lack surprise, and with teammates already in position, it would be difficult to create a threat. The second option was to cross immediately upon catching up, using a defender's technique. But because he was already very close to the byline, a cross with too much of an arc would easily go out of bounds in mid-air. Or he could have deliberately crossed further back, using a more triangular pass. However, the two closest players to Quaresma were Rosenborg defenders, making a ground pass difficult. So Quaresma chose to get past the ball himself, turn, and chip it with the outside of his foot, making sure the ball gets out of bounds in mid-air. The unusual curve can mislead the opponent's judgment, and there's even a chance to try a zero-angle outside of the foot shot. That's absolutely genius level handling. By the way, because of his excellent outside of the foot technique, some media outlets have previously called Quaresma the king of the outside of the foot. The commentary for this match was excellent, and the preparation was thorough. It was that last sentence, if Deng Kai heard it, he'd probably feel a strong sense of crisis. The title of king of the outside of the foot is the closest Deng Kai has come to. In the 42nd minute, Deng Kai completed a clean and decisive interception in the attacking third. Rosenborg's passing in the backfield wasn't high quality, simply defending was one thing. But they clearly wanted to organize an attack, practically handing Deng Kai a chance to intercept. Deng Kai passed a ball to Ronaldo. Ronaldo passed it back. Deng Kai then passed it laterally to Viana, moving wide himself. Viana looked for Ronaldo, but without an opportunity, and passed to Deng Kai instead. Deng Kai watched as Ibrahimovic surged into the penalty area from the center, and Ronaldo followed suit from the left. A sudden inspiration struck him. Bang! Deng Kai crosses. So sudden. And it's a lobbed pass with the outside of his foot. This is over 20 meters from the goal. This pass at least proves his right leg strength is quite good. It looks like Deng Kai is looking for Ibrahimovic, only the outside of his right foot can quickly complete this pass. If he switched to his left foot, the timing would be delayed. This is also because Deng Kai is a right-footed player. During regular dribbling the ball is mostly controlled by his right foot. Although he can pass with his left foot, he has to do some work. Don't ask why he can't pass with his normal right foot, because Deng Kai, on the left wing, needs to face the goal in advance to pass the ball to the center of the penalty area with his normal right foot, and then he needs to move the ball half a step to the side, which also takes time. Deng Kai is a player who is very good at seizing opportunities. Oh wait, he is very good at seizing opportunities. His vision is excellent, and you can always find fleeting opportunities. This also leads him to use some unconventional passing methods many times in order to seize opportunities. So although his passing error rate isn't low, and some of his mistakes are even quite absurd, it's not because his passing skills are bad, but because at that time, that was the only way to pass the ball. If the pass is accurate, it's an absolute masterpiece. If it's inaccurate, that's normal. Oops. Ibrahimovic ran the wrong way. In the footage, Ibrahimovic, having cut into the penalty area, feints to the right before suddenly accelerating towards the left, aiming for the near post. It seems that in Ibrahimovic's anticipation, this pass was meant for the near post. Ronaldo, however, was delayed and couldn't cut in time. After all, outside of the foot passes rarely go very far. Reaching the near post is already a good result. However, after the ball soared into the sky, its arc was terrifyingly high. It was as if it were being blown up by the wind, getting higher and higher, reaching 2 or 3 meters above the goal when it approached the near post. This pass was on par with a shot that went wide. Ibrahimovic stopped running at the end. Instead, he stood with his hands on his hips, looking up at the ball. Too far off. Forget it. Chapter 293. One step closer to becoming the king of the outside of the foot. He instinctively wanted to swear, but remembering it was Director Kai's pass, he quickly shut up, even giving Deng Kai a thumbs up. Praise is no excuse. But then, the situation changed drastically. The ball, still high above the goal at the near post, suddenly plummeted, as if slapped down by an invisible hand. Ibrahimovic had drawn the defenders, including the goalkeeper, to the near post. At that moment, the far post was incredibly empty. The ball descended further and further, finally just below the crossbar, nestling around the 10/10 point mark at the far post. A Beckenbauer-esque pass and shot. When you pass the ball with the outside of your foot above the crossbar, it drops sharply. Goal. Everyone was stunned for a moment. Then the commentators realized, goal. Goal. My God. It really went in. Deng Kai flicked a pass with the outside of his foot on the left, a pass shot that directly resulted in a goal. Incredible. Such footwork is simply rare. If Quaresma's outside of the foot pass was like Leonardo da Vinci drawing 1,000 eggs, where effort outweighs talent, then Deng Kai's outside of the foot shot was truly unrestrained imagination. He probably couldn't have played a shot like that a second time. It seems that Quaresma isn't the only one at Sporting Lisbon skilled with the outside of his foot. Deng Kai's outside of the foot shot can definitely rival Quaresma's. But no matter who is stronger, the king of the outside of the foot in the Portuguese league will definitely be one of them. Also, we underestimated Ibrahimovic again. Everyone thought he misjudged the ball's trajectory, but now it seems that Ibrahimovic's run was premeditated. He deliberately drew Deng Kai's attention, bringing everyone to the near post, creating conditions for Deng Kai to score directly. They likely coordinated beforehand, and Ibrahimovic probably knew that Deng Kai's real goal was a lob. Otherwise, Ibrahimovic wouldn't have given Deng Kai a thumbs up so early. After all, from a passing perspective, the pass was clearly subpar. No wonder the Swede was able to secure a starting position after Drogba's injury. It seems he and Deng Kai have good chemistry. After Drogba recovers, it will be difficult for him to challenge Ibrahimovic's starting position. The commentator's explanation provided impeccable theoretical support. Everything was perfectly timed. 2-1, after a difficult period, Sporting Lisbon finally achieved the score they deserved. The first half was about to end. The referee had no further thoughts on the score. 2-1, probably meeting the target set by his superiors. It was just one ball, a simple tap would have brought it back, right? But on the bench, Trigueros' pupils contracted. Now, the referee was complacent. The opposing players were also waiting to enter the locker room to hear the coach's instructions. This was the best opportunity. He believed Deng Kai wouldn't miss this chance. Sure enough. Almost simultaneously, Deng Kai suddenly launched a long pass. He didn't play a through ball, because it wasn't necessary. The opposing fullbacks had all dropped back. Seeing this, Ibrahimovic immediately started running. Viana decisively charged into the penalty area. Ronaldo, facing the covering full-back, moved with lightning speed, lightning fast. He executed a perfect bicycle kick, leaving the opponent completely disoriented. Bang! Ronaldo successfully swept the ball across the box. This powerful cross was a potential shot for anyone who touched it. Unfortunately, no one managed to reach the ball. Ronaldo sighed in frustration, his first assist of the season was gone again. These idiots, was it so hard to just stick out a foot? If only there was Ronaldo in the box, it would definitely be a goal. But on the other side, Quaresma chased after the ball and controlled it. Facing the pressing opponent, Quaresma raised his foot and delivered a cross, directly faking out the opponent. Bang! Quaresma easily passed back to Deng Kai. Deng Kai turned and flicked the ball on the right side of the penalty area, the ball in front of him on his left, and he raised his right leg. This move was a 100% pass to the far post. Ronaldo was charging towards that position. This is one of Sporting Lisbon's most successful scoring opportunities this year. It's also where Ronaldo and Deng Kai have combined most frequently. Bang! Deng Kai changed his footwork mid-air. The ball flew up. It was indeed to the far post. It was definitely aimed at Ronaldo. But, wasn't the ball a bit too high? Even Ibrahimovic couldn't reach it, let alone Ronaldo, right? And why the outside of his foot? He could have easily passed it with the inside of his foot. A larger arc, a softer touch, a more precise touch, what's wrong with that? Ronaldo leaps high. Deng Kai's outside of his foot created a certain arc, changing the ball's trajectory. Ronaldo might not be able to reach it. Ronaldo tilts his head. Thank goodness, the ball almost flew too high. Thankfully, it dropped a bit in the latter part. Deng Kai's outside of the foot pass was perfect, but it didn't quite look like a pass. Swish. The commentator's words proved prophetic. The ball, passed to the far post, veered towards the goal, and it's unclear whether it even made contact with Ronaldo's head, but it ultimately flew into the net. Goal. Ronaldo. It's Ronaldo. Duncan assisted Ronaldo to score. Although he didn't get an assist, a goal is definitely a win-win for a striker. As expected of Sporting Lisbon's twin stars. Rosenborg clearly picked the wrong opponent today, 3-1. Ronaldo has extended the team's lead. Wait, what does that mean? Isn't it Ronaldo? Oh. The slow-motion replay is showing, and there seems to be something wrong with this goal. Ronaldo is pointing to his hair, he's saying that's his goal. But the referee is communicating with the linesman. It's been changed. The goal is still valid, but the scorer has changed from Ronaldo to Duncan. This is Duncan, scoring 2 goals in 3 minutes. As expected of Sporting Lisbon's brightest star. Rosenborg clearly. Listening to the commentary, many viewers felt like they were in a different world. These words sounded familiar. So, no matter who scores, you say it like that? Hey. Commentator, how fresh. Poor Quaresma was still applauding Deng Kai's goal, unaware that half of his king of the outside of the foot had already been handed to Deng Kai. The first half then ended. During halftime, Trigueros calmed the players in the locker room. Everyone felt the problems with the refereeing in this match, but as the leading team, they had to eliminate these distractions first. Especially the defenders, they absolutely could not make mistakes on the defensive end. The second half began. In the 54th minute, Ibrahimovic protested to the referee and received a yellow card. He was fouled in the penalty area, but the referee did not stop the game. and Ibrahimovic angrily questioned the referee. There are many ways to judge whether a striker has dived. A short slow-motion video clip is not the most reliable. Some simpler judgments are based on the attitude of the fouled player. P.S. So frustrating. Peach has been writing for so long, except during the new book period. When doesn't she update 8,000 or 10,000 words a day? What can 4,000 words a day do? However, there's no way around it. Writing 4,000 words a day is exhausting. My mind, body, and insomnia due to alternating chills and fever at night are all recurring issues. I feel like I'm experiencing anxiety. Please bear with me lately. Once I recover, I'll definitely update more frequently. Thank you all for your support. Chapter 294 Hat on the instep. For example, if Ibrahimovic dives in the penalty area but doesn't land on anyone, and the referee ignores him, Ibrahimovic might give an awkward smile. Or, if Ibrahimovic deliberately falls to the ground in a weak position, outsiders might think it's a sure penalty, but if the referee doesn't award it, Ibrahimovic won't complain. Generally, unless it's the last moment and a player absolutely needs a penalty, a player's behavior is very indicative. The behavior of some players who are prone to exaggerated emotions doesn't fall into this category. So, since Ibrahimovic was angry about needing a penalty, it means that at least in his eyes, it was definitely a penalty. Conversely, a few minutes later, the same situation happened in Sporting Lisbon's penalty area. Barzagli, when the opponent received the ball, used his upper body and hand to push the opponent down from the side. The key is that the opponent hadn't even touched the ball yet, nor did he have absolute control of it. In the Premier League, this wouldn't be a problem. But the referee firmly awarded a yellow card and a penalty. The intention to punish Sporting Lisbon was obvious. Soon, Rosenborg pulled one back with a penalty. The score became 3-2. The game seemed to have suspense again. Deng Kai began making extensive runs in the backfield, constantly receiving and distributing the ball. He simultaneously signaled to his teammates to keep the ball moving at high speed, denying the opponent any opportunities to foul. While the wide circle tactic didn't offer many advantages, as long as Deng Kai, acting as a free man, ran diligently in the backfield, it was difficult to lose possession. When things got really tough on the left flank, Matthias launched a long ball to the right, forcing Rosenborg to press again. This period passed quickly. Although no goals or even any threatening attacks were created, the suspense captivated everyone. In the 71st minute, Sporting Lisbon's defenders were visibly fatigued. In the 76th minute, after a long pass, Deng Kai suffered a cramp in his right leg. Rosenborg, however, believed Deng Kai was faking it and really told him to get up. This almost sparked another conflict between the two sides. As Deng Kai's form declined, Rosenborg's attack became more threatening. In the 70th minute, Matthias used the last drop of fuel from his aging engine to complete a crucial interception. Otherwise, here, Matthias heard a call from the depths of his soul. Matthias decisively passed a ball. Bang! After receiving the ball, Duncan executed a Marseille's turn, shaking off the defender beside him, and without even looking at the attacking third, swung his leg. Duncan then slipped and fell to the ground, his right leg cramping again. But this time, no Rosenborg players surrounded him. Because in the attacking third, Ronaldo was accelerating. Ronaldo passed him. Beautiful. A stop and go, Ronaldo bursts into the penalty area. Goalkeeper rushes out. Ronaldo has dribbled past the goalkeeper. Goal. 4-2. Ronaldo has killed the game. The CD connection is back, playing the final note of the match. Look at his expression. I even think Ronaldo is provoking the referee. This move is dangerous. Thankfully the referee didn't notice it. It's clear that the Sporting Lisbon players felt unfairly treated. Duncan seems to be fine. He should be able to continue playing. 81 minutes. Sporting Lisbon spontaneously increased their intensity, pressing more aggressively. Sensing the defensive solidity, Rosenborg opted for a long-range shot. Schmeichel caught the ball, but with surprising audacity, he didn't fall. Instead, he launched a quick counter-attack, throwing the ball to Pepe. Pepe was in open position and needed to accelerate. Bang! A Rosenborg player fouled Pepe. But before falling, Pepe passed a ball to the on-rushing Deng Kai. Deng Kai, seeing Quaresma and Ronaldo running ahead, took a shot. The referee blew his whistle. He called a foul on a Rosenborg player. The Sporting Lisbon players were utterly bewildered. They had possession, they had even created an attacking opportunity, and could have exploited Rosenborg's positional lapse. Yet the referee stopped play, ordering Rosenborg back to their positions to defend, and then returned the ball to Sporting Lisbon. It was obvious who he was favoring. And now, in a decade or so, this deep refereeing and manipulation of the game will be commonplace. Then they'll use even more innovative methods. Beep beep beep. Deng Kai quickly took the free kick, catching Rosenborg off guard and immediately revealing a huge defensive lapse. However, the referee still stopped the game, determined not to give Sporting Lisbon any chance. It seems that although his primary objective in this match was to ensure Rosenborg's victory, and his secondary objective of securing a draw, he couldn't achieve either. His third objective was probably to ensure Sporting Lisbon didn't score again. Perhaps his owners wanted a 4-2 or 4-3 scoreline. Ultimately, Matthias took the free kick. In the 83rd minute, Quaresma dribbled down the right flank, but his cross failed to take off and was blocked. However, the ball was still at his feet, and he chose to pass it back. Deng Kai, on the right flank, received the ball and moved slightly towards the center, slowly approaching the penalty area. Rosenborg players rushed out to pressure Deng Kai. Deng Kai flicked the ball to the left with his left foot, feigning a left-footed shot. The opponent blocked. Deng Kai touched the ball again with his left foot, continuing to flick it to the left, a feint shot followed by a flick. Rosenborg players noticed Deng Kai moving both feet, seemingly intending to dribble laterally and gain speed. They quickly abandoned their blocking stance and prepared to accelerate laterally themselves. Bang! Deng Kai's right foot didn't accelerate, instead, it struck the ball. A Beckenbauer-esque pass and shot. A feint with his left foot, followed by a pass and shot with the outside of his foot. The transition was absurd. Crucially, it was passed behind a defender. Had that defender not accelerated laterally, the ball would have been blocked by his body. This swish. Because of the lack of power, this outside of the foot pass and shot didn't fly very high. It wasn't an unstoppable shot, but the element of surprise was there. The ball nestled into the near corner of the net, perfectly timed. Goal. Duncan. It's Duncan again. 5-2. Duncan is truly amazing. He's completed a hat trick. Let's congratulate him. Sporting Lisbon has achieved another glorious victory, albeit a hard-fought one. I'm sure they'll have a lot to say after the match. Especially about the referee, many of his decisions are worth discussing. Oh. Duncan rushed towards the corner flag, but instead of his traditional Swiss celebration, he pointed to his right foot and shouted, "King of the outside of the foot." What a bold declaration. Is he already a king at such a young age? But I must say, his outside of the foot was ridiculously strong today. All three of his goals were scored with the outside of his foot. Chapter 295 Porto Nemesis. Young man, aiming to become the king of the outside of the foot is certainly a good thing. It's better than having no ambition at all. Look, your teammates around you are all happy for Deng Kai. It's just that Quaresma doesn't look too good. He's probably too tired from this match, even though he provided 2 beautiful assists. The score remained unchanged. 5-2, that was the final score. Sporting Lisbon won all 3 of their first 3 matches in the UEFA Cup group stage. This made them the team with the best chance of advancing from their group. After the match, Sporting Lisbon's attitude towards the refereeing standards surprised everyone. Trigura, Maxa, Deng Kai, Quaresma, and other players all remained silent. They didn't overly mention words like biased refereeing, misjudgment, or they didn't want us to win. Even when the media started it, they didn't join in the attack on the referee. Some media interpreted this as Sporting Lisbon not wanting to suffer further losses due to off-field factors. With them holding the initiative and advancing from the group, it was unnecessary to fixate on the referee's officiating errors. But only key members of Sporting Lisbon knew that they had already assigned someone to monitor the referee. All his matches would be meticulously recorded and analyzed, his intentions and tactics compiled. Then, at certain crucial moments, Sporting Lisbon would provide this information to UEFA or even release it publicly. If fairness before this match was random, then in a future match, Sporting Lisbon could secure almost absolute fairness. This might even help them win a round in the UEFA Cup. Sporting Lisbon is a powerhouse in the Portuguese league. We have no shortage of experience competing on 2 or even 3 fronts, so don't worry about our form. We are very confident of victory against Porto in the next round. Maxi, who received a red card in European competition, returned to the Portuguese league schedule, still as confident as ever. The last four words in Trigura's draft were clearly missing. We are very confident, not we are very confident of victory. The former expresses an attitude, the latter a result. In the Portuguese league, no team can confidently say they will win against Porto. Ironically, one person within Sporting Lisbon actually dared to say such things. Maxa smiled slightly. Does Sporting Lisbon have a secret weapon against Porto? Ronaldo is full of confidence. Jardel needs my opinion to win the Golden Boot this year. You might not remember, but Kai and I were the players who beat Porto to win the title. Last year's Portuguese Cup, you know? We weren't afraid of Porto at all. The Portuguese Super Derby is coming. Porto versus Sporting Lisbon, who do you favor? A battle for the top spot. Worth 6 points. Postiga, we are clearly the better team, we have the best midfield in all of Portugal. If you don't count Figo as a midfielder. Jardel, I feel my form is completely back. Porto created far more attacking opportunities than Sporting Lisbon, that's a true champion team. Deco, in terms of form, both sides are actually quite even, but I think we have the advantage of balance. Besides, their players like Drogba and Deschamps are injured. Deng Kai, Postiga, you said Deco is the best midfielder, are you really not considering Rui Costa's feelings at all? Deco is indeed good, but he's still several levels below Rui Costa. Trigura, Postiga is an excellent center forward. But his coexistence with Jardel has clearly affected the team's balance. Before the match, both sides engaged in a fierce media war, stabbing each other in the back. Of course, one or two of these attacks were useful. For example, Postiga has almost never provided any definitive assessment of Jardel. This means the competition between the two sides has entered a heated phase. Last year, Jardel left Porto, and Postiga became the team's main center forward. His performance was actually quite good. 15 league goals. Without injuries, 20 goals would have been achievable. Any center forward scoring that many goals in their first season is quite impressive. But Porto's previous center forward was Porto. Players scoring less than 30 league goals were considered useless by Porto fans. Ronaldo, Ibrahimovic, Drogba. With Jardel's return this year, Postiga's starting position was discontinued. Of course, to turn this young player into a valuable asset, Porto moved Postiga to the left wing, attempting to play him as a shadow striker. Postiga is working hard to adapt to this change. On November 21st, half a day before the start of the 11th round of the Portuguese League, Drogba and Deschamps returned to the team. Deschamps finally passed his vision test, while Drogba's physical condition was diagnosed by the team doctor as at his peak. The return of these two is crucial for the team. Pepe's defense under intense pressure is certainly stronger than Deschamps. However, in the wide circle formation, Pepe and Deschamps' positions rarely encounter strong challenges, making Deschamps, who is less prone to errors, a better choice. In the last match, Ibrahimovic's performance was almost non-existent except for his initial goal. Even in intense physical battles, he would instinctively disappear. In this respect, Drogba is indeed tougher. Moreover, Drogba's playing style means that even if the opponent fouls him, he may not be completely blocked. Bang! 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 After a brief training session, everyone prepared to rest. But Quaresma kicked a few more times. Deng Kai went over to take a look, outside of his foot. It seems Quaresma also has an obsession with the outside of his foot. After the last match, some media outlets were already praising Deng Kai as the king of the outside of his foot. But Quaresma had previously held that title as well. The two had engaged in an unspoken competition over this title. In the match against Porto, Quaresma's mission was to reclaim the title of king of the outside of his foot. Soon, evening arrived. The big match was about to begin. Drogba and Deschamps, who had returned to the squad, did not get a starting opportunity and sat on the bench. However, before the first half was over, they began warming up. In the 6th minute of the match, Deco and Postiga switched positions, and Deco made a series of breakthroughs on the left wing. Most importantly, he anticipated Methals's flying tackle, dribbled past it, and amazed everyone. Deco then chipped the ball in from outside the penalty area. Jardel controlled the ball with his chest, then turned and fired a powerful shot before it hit the ground, scoring the first goal of the match with a commanding presence befitting a center forward 1-0. Porto takes the lead, 19th minute. Deco again, after a series of elusive runs that shook off Pepe, played a through ball to Postiga. Unfortunately, Postiga's first touch was too heavy. Otherwise it would have been another goal. 31st minute. Deco continued to draw attention, this time creating a long-range opportunity for his teammate Sasso. Sasso's shot was parried by Schmeichel, but Jardel, quick and decisive in front of goal, tapped in the rebound, completing his brace. Porto leads 2-0. At this moment, Trigueros and Duncan exchanged a glance, then waved their hands. Drogba and Deschamps both came on. Ibrahimovic and Pepe were substituted before halftime. A rare occurrence. Chapter 296. Drogba trips up. Sporting Lisbon is now in a somewhat reversed position. Up front, they lack some toughness, and Porto's containment of their forwards has been very successful so far. Ibrahimovic has the ability to handle the ball, but the opposition doesn't give him that space. They allow Ibrahimovic any touch of the ball except with his feet, yet Ibrahimovic is at his best with the ball at his feet. In defense, Pepe is very aggressive, but Deco is just too agile. Pepe's defensive style is only useful for conceding free kicks. Perhaps bringing in Deschamps, with his better positioning, superior interception ability, and more reliable defensive choices, would be a better attempt. Okay, Sporting Lisbon has made their substitution. Shortly after this substitution, Drogba, who had been absent from the field for a long time, proved his worth. In the 37th minute, Deng Kai delivered a through ball. This kind of pass, a direct attack through the middle and behind the defense, was a first in this match. The reason is simple, Ibrahimovic doesn't like this type of passing. Among center forwards, Ibrahimovic's explosiveness and speed are not bad, but if you ask him to charge like a Labrador on the flanks, he resists and cannot do it. Ronaldo? As for Drogba, perhaps he is far inferior to Ibrahimovic in terms of agility and flexibility. But his pure speed and passion are stronger. He pushed aside a defender, turned and accelerated, while also making a fierce collision with another defender with his shoulder. Like a transformer, sparks flew all the way. In the end, Porto's defensive midfielder, Piquez, reached out and pulled down Drogba. He was covered in sweat and quite helpless. Drogba won a free kick in a very good position for the team. Quaresma stood in front of the ball to take it. But unfortunately, he didn't curl the ball properly, and the ball hit the wall and bounced back. The wall immediately chased after the ball. Deng Kai met the ball with a shot that lacked power. The ball flew into the stands. Many fans were laughing at how outrageous Deng Kai's shot was. But Deco on the field was a little surprised. He had assumed that a young midfielder like Deng Kai, whose position was unstable, would be very protective of his reputation. Unexpectedly, Deng Kai seemed not to care much about others' opinions. That last shot was less of a long-range effort and more of a clearance. There wasn't enough time to shoot, nor a suitable angle. Simply swinging the ball would definitely miss, and could even injure a player's thigh. But Deng Kai had to do it. Otherwise, if the ball fell into Porto's wall, it would be a classic counter-attack opportunity. Deco was very adept at handling these kinds of quick attacks. In his first 2 years at Porto, Deco didn't play with the decisiveness that Deng Kai possessed. In similar situations, he would try to control the ball and drop back. But situations where someone tackled him from behind, dispossessed him, launched a counter-attack, and scored Whittaker, Deco had learned this the hard way. Some referees were more lenient during counter-attacks. It could be said that Deco's analysis of Deng Kai was entirely correct. Except for Deng Kai's unstable position. According to Deco, aside from the fact that Deng Kai's right attacking midfield position isn't irreplaceable, the key issue is that Sporting Lisbon's squad is redundant and subject to constant replacement. If Sporting Lisbon were to truly streamline, it would be normal to have one or two fewer attacking players in midfield and forward positions. So who is most likely to be eliminated? Clearly, it's Deng Kai. Viana has better playmaking ability, Quaresma is indispensable on the right wing, and Ronaldo at least has a distinctive presence on the left. In the 44th minute, Porto launched a series of passes. Deco took on key passing duties one after another, then delivered a superb pass that directly tore apart Sporting Lisbon's defense. Postiga and Jardel arrived one after the other. Postiga arrived earlier, but he came from the side and could see Jardel's expression as he approached. Jardel, get lost, let me handle this. Postiga could only slow down and avoid him. But once the ball was won, getting out of the way was no easy task. Bang! Jardel, now in a more central position, unleashed a powerful shot, leaving Schmeichel somewhat desperate. But the ball went at least a meter over the crossbar, giving Sporting Lisbon a chance to escape from a desperate situation. Fuck. Jardel was furious after realizing his shot had gone wide. Postiga seemed to have given him space to shoot, but the shooter also needs to consider the space for his leg to swing after the shot, something Postiga couldn't just leave out in time. Postiga turned and walked away with a sullen face, cursing, fuck you, I was here first. This is the problem with a center forward playing as a winger. Postiga's runs overlap too much with Jardel's, not only failing to provide enough stretch but also encroaching on Jardel's opportunities. However, even without any chemistry in the attacking third, Deco was still able to continuously create attacking opportunities, demonstrating just how dazzling his performance was. During halftime, Trigueira gave him a stern warning. The defense needed to pay close attention to the link-up runs between Postiga and Jardel, as this position was easy to intercept. When facing Deco, try not to rush in. Deco's ability to find openings is too strong. Everyone retreat, maintain the defensive line, and then consider dispossessing Porto. Don't rush. The second half begins. In the 52nd minute, Quaresma put on a brilliant performance. He dribbled repeatedly down the right flank, finally bursting through the speed of his marker Rubens, and surged into the penalty area from the byline. Quaresma then delivered a cutback pass to Drogba in the 6-yard box. In the previous Europa League match, Quaresma had a similarly impressive performance, but he then used the outside of his foot to send a high ball, assisting Ibrahimovic's header. This has almost become Quaresma's signature dribbling move. However, the next moment, Sporting Lisbon fans covered their heads in disbelief. Drogba was clearly unprepared for the incoming ball, and his touch was too heavy, resulting in a long first touch that was easily collected by the Porto goalkeeper. Drogba himself couldn't forgive his mistake. Trigueira really shouldn't have substituted Ibrahimovic. Ibrahimovic could definitely handle that kind of ball. He might even do a scorpion kick. He definitely thought of that. Drogba is too dull. He's not a naturally gifted player. Almost only Duncan remained calm outside the penalty area. While it might sound a bit stoic, this ball really wasn't Drogba's fault. At the very least, Drogba's slightly stiff touch and lack of adjustment in tight spaces are issues that can't be changed. Instead of hoping Drogba will change, why not let the passer change? Just pass a ball that's not too close to his feet, right? Chapter 297. The instep shows its power again. This is also the biggest difference between Drogba and Ibrahimovic. Ibrahimovic loves the ball at his feet. Whenever you give him the ball, he can freely contribute by assisting, dribbling back, turning to create threats, or trying to shoot. Drogba isn't as intelligent. When you give him the ball, he can only play the role of a target man, holding off opponents, passing back, setting up, etc. If you want Drogba's attacking ability, then when you give him the ball, you need to keep him at a certain distance. He's not a poacher, but he's very good at poaching. In the 60th minute, Deco moved down the wing and overlapped with his teammate, then suddenly crossed a ball. His cross wasn't aimed at the penalty area, but at the far post, on the edge of the box, at Postiga. That vision was superb. Bang! Postiga volleyed a high-quality shot. Unfortunately, the ball hit Jardel, who couldn't dodge in time, and bounced out of bounds. Postiga clearly swore. Jardel was speechless. I told you to pass me the ball, and you just shot? Inside the penalty area, if I, Jardel, get the ball, isn't that practically a goal? Do you even know who's currently leading the Portuguese league scoring charts? Idiot. 63rd minute. Sporting Lisbon slowly builds up their attack. Quaresma and Deng Kai overlap on the right flank. Quaresma draws the defense before passing back to Deschamps. Deschamps plays a through ball, helping Deng Kai break down the opponent's flank. Deng Kai controls the ball before it goes out of play. Although he's not a dribbling expert, he's confident holding the ball on the byline. He dribbles from the byline into the penalty area, shakes off his opponent, and delivers a cutback pass with the outside of his foot. It's almost identical to Quaresma's previous pass. The only difference is that this time, Deng Kai's pass is slightly closer to the goalkeeper, rather than to a teammate inside the penalty area. Drogba accelerates. Fuchs is being outmaneuvered by Drogba. Costa pulls on Drogba's shirt but quickly lets go, otherwise he'd concede a penalty. Drogba is tall and has long legs. Porto goalkeeper rushes out. Bang! Despite being pulled by two center-backs, Drogba managed to poke the ball home from half a body length behind. The Porto goalkeeper's rush-out gave Drogba an open goal. Goal 1-2. 11 rounds of the Portuguese league have passed, and Drogba has finally scored. An assist from Duncan. They've pulled one back, keeping the game suspenseful. Ruben's defense is problematic today. Quaresma had already beaten him before, and now Duncan delivered the pass from almost the same position, but this time God didn't continue to favor Porto. In the 67th minute, Deco almost orchestrated the birth of a goal. However, in the entire exquisite passing sequence, the most important final touch? Postaga's pass to Jardel went wrong. This was a soulless pass. Postaga made no feints before passing, acting all businesslike. Matthäus easily intercepted the ball. Matthäus admitted he was gambling. He thought even a fool could steal that pass, and wondered if Postaga and Jardel were throwing the ball at him. But he couldn't resist, even if he was being treated like a fool. And the result? Ha ha ha. Matthäus, in high spirits, launched a long pass to Ronaldo on the left wing. Ronaldo quickly flicked the ball several meters, clearly intending to outspeed his opponent. In this exchange, Ronaldo easily outpaced his opponent. He began cutting inside. When he spotted Drogba at the edge of the penalty area, he delivered a half-high ball to Drogba, then surged into the box himself. He was aiming for a pass from Drogba. Without the ball at his feet, Ronaldo could more easily enter the penalty area. But Drogba wasn't without his own ideas. With his back to the goal, he looked at Viana approaching, his chest heaving. The ball bounced towards Viana's feet. During his injury recovery, Drogba had watched many videos of Duncan and Ronaldo's past matches. While learning about Duncan's playing style, he also learned about the playing styles of other players. Not Ronaldo, but Moreirense's Anderson. This player's passing style suited Drogba very well, and Drogba could do it even better than Anderson. Bang! Viana unleashed a long-range shot. He was in top form in every way. Plus, he hadn't been very noticeable lately. After playing for an hour, some Porto players had even forgotten about Portugal's most talented left winger. Swish! Viana's long-range shot was devastating. The ball went cleanly into the net. Only Ronaldo was completely bewildered. Wasn't this supposed to be a combination between him and Drogba? How did a third person appear in their relationship? This. Facing Ronaldo's questioning gaze, Drogba looked embarrassed and troubled. Hey, Mr. Luo, you know, Kai has emphasized to us blue-collar players many times that we need to pay more attention to teamwork when playing. For a player like you, Mr. Luo, just let you play freely. Luo, isolate me? Kai, no, it's because you're so strong you don't need teamwork. And nobody's qualified to team up with you. Luo, you understand. 2-2. Drogba scored and assisted, helping his team equalize. The morale of both sides shifted, and Sporting Lisbon launched a full-scale attack. Even during the 70-plus minutes of stagnation, their attack never stopped. In the 82nd minute, Ronaldo's long-range shot won a corner for his team. Quaresma took the corner. Drogba headed the ball, which hit the post and bounced out. Postaga cleared the ball, which flew towards Deng Kai outside the penalty area. Deng Kai unleashed a left-footed cross, a spectacular shot. The ball was blocked by Sasso's body, returning to the goal. Facing the ball. This time, Deng Kai switched to his right foot, unleashing a Beckenbauer-esque pass and shot, curling the ball over the defender and into the net with the outside of his foot. Well done. A game winner. Deng Kai's goal is absolutely decisive. 3-2. Porto led for so long, but ultimately lost to Sporting Lisbon. Deng Kai didn't waste any chances. Sporting Lisbon were the more efficient team today. Another outside of the foot goal. I now wholeheartedly accept Deng Kai's title as the king of the outside of the foot. King of the outside of the foot. King of the outside of the foot. Fans began chanting Deng Kai's nickname. This time, even Quaresma showed no displeasure. He had already begun celebrating with his teammates. When team honor is significant enough, it can make any player abandon concern for individual glory. And within the Portuguese league, no player can resist the sense of accomplishment from defeating Porto. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 298 Portuguese Super League White Lotus. In the 89th minute, everyone thought the game was over. But the Brazilian prodigy captivated the entire stadium with his Porto waltz. He dribbled past two players in the middle and finally stormed into the penalty area. Font, like a butcher, destroyed this work of art, pulling Deco down. Yellow card and penalty. Font paid the price for his poor performance. Deco, meanwhile, took the penalty himself and calmly converted it. At that moment, the entire stadium roared, "Super Deco!" Deco raised his arms, basking in the fans' adoration, unaware of the danger of revealing his nickname to Deng Kai. 3-3. After a series of leads, Porto finally equalized for Sporting Lisbon, preserving their last bit of pride. This was also the final score of the match. Neither side was entirely satisfied with the result. Deco, we established a lead early on, but we underestimated Sporting Lisbon. They are very resilient, and this was our toughest game of the season. Reporter, which players on this team do you think we need to be wary of? Deco, everyone needs to be watched. This is a team capable of unleashing a youthful storm. Quaresma is definitely the first priority, but Viana, Ronaldo, and their forwards are not to be underestimated. Reporter, do you think there are any players on this team similar to you? Deco, yes, Duncan. He may not be the most dazzling one, but that's precisely the most terrifying thing about a midfielder his age. At his age, I didn't care about anything but showing off. But he clearly cares more about winning, which is a very valuable quality. The reporter relayed Deco's assessment to Duncan. Deng Kai, I'm very grateful to Deco for such high praise of me and himself. In fact, Deco is currently better than me. We may do the same things on the field, but I'm far less adept than everyone sees. It was a great game, and we can accept the result. It keeps us at the top of the standings, and that's enough. That's dignity. In fact, as the absolute core of their respective teams, Deco and Deng Kai are the players who are least willing to accept a draw. But they showed great composure in front of the media. Often, this becomes a kind of inner strength. Because they weren't even angry, it shows that this game didn't seem to be unexpected for Porto. Even after leading by 2 goals and then falling behind, they didn't seem to be helpless. For Sporting Lisbon, even after falling behind by 2 goals early, they were able to come back from 2-3. What kind of battle can't they win? As for being tight in the end, it was just that the defense wasn't focused enough. If all else fails, wouldn't it be better to optimize the players who made mistakes? Font, huh? Optimize? But not all players and fans have that kind of vision. Jardel, the team has had some problems lately, our efficiency is off. Deco and the coaching staff should seriously consider how to maximize efficiency. This was a direct attack on Postiga, simultaneously pressuring the midfield maestro and the head coach. He had the confidence to say this. His goal-scoring statistics were one factor, but another, he had already received a tacit notification from the Brazilian national team coaching staff that he would be included in Brazil's World Cup qualifier squad for the foreseeable future. In Brazil, there are only 3 types of players: ordinary players, excellent players, and players who have been selected for the national team. Jardel's long-cherished dream was finally about to come true. In comparison, Deco's inclusion in the Brazilian national team still seemed a long way off. Could Jardel be polite to Deco? Little brother, serve me well, and if I become a regular starter for the national team, I can put in a good word for you. Replacing Deco directly is a bit difficult, but being a bench warmer is no problem. This was also why Jardel was so obsessed with statistics this season. To put it bluntly, it was a lack of confidence. He hoped to pave the way for his national team journey with more league statistics, even though he knew Brazilians wouldn't care about those extra 3 or 5 Portuguese league goals. Humans are truly complex. Sometimes, they pretend not to understand things they should. Jardel was tough, and Postiga retorted without hesitation, "We should have played more like a unit. This isn't one person's team, and even if it were, it would be Deco's team." Compared to Jardel's condescending attitude towards Deco, Postiga still showed respect. He was closer to Deco. Now that Porto has cracked, if they don't act quickly, what kind of tactical masters are Duncan and Trigora? The league is a season-long issue. What's a tiny crack now could become a huge hole by the end of the season. Sporting Lisbon's part-time spokesperson, Maxier, looked ahead to the 2002 World Cup from this year's European Championship. "I have no worries that Portugal, led by excellent players like Figo and Rui Costa, can qualify for the Japan-Korea World Cup finals. But I only have one concern: are there enough attacking players for this Portuguese team? Here, we must mention Sporting Lisbon's club spirit and social responsibility. We have prepared Simeo, Quaresma, and even Viana and Cristiano Ronaldo on the other side of Figo. We are building up Portugal's championship-winning squad. Today, the Portuguese wingers are a strong point. Our only weakness has always been, besides Paulita, we lack one or even several high-quality center forwards who can consistently contribute goals. Benfica's Nuno Gomes is doing this, and he did well in the European Championship. But Benfica doesn't have a tradition of center forwards. What has Porto, with its true tradition of center forwards in the Portuguese league, contributed to this national team? Postiga is undoubtedly Portugal's hope in attack, along with his junior Almeida. But if you don't nurture these two excellent center forwards, they'll forever remain just hopes, never true talents. You've nurtured a superstar center forward for Brazil. When Brazil wins the World Cup, will they lend the trophy to Porto? No. Besides, in my opinion, while Postiga's goal-scoring efficiency isn't as high as Jardel's, his potential is greater. Theoretically, he has greater potential. Maxi, am speaking neutrally as an assistant coach dedicated to helping the Portuguese national team achieve better results in major tournaments, without any ulterior motives, a pure and noble white lotus blooming at the pinnacle of football. Chapter 299. If there's a faster break than the foot brake, it must be the hand brake. Maxier's speech was a wake-up call. As the most powerful club in the Portuguese league, Porto's contributions to the national team have been utterly negligible. They've been in positions of power but haven't fulfilled their responsibilities. Porto is practically an internal traitor. They deserve to be punished. Suddenly, Porto is under immense internal pressure. The higher-ups have stated directly that they must nurture Postiga this year, no matter what. The goal is to get Postiga into the national team squad for the 2002 World Cup, as a way of giving the Portuguese people an explanation. You have obtained the title king of the outside of the foot. You have obtained Ricardo Quaresma's purple player-level skill, manual cornering. Manual cornering, if there is a faster break than the foot brake, it must be the hand brake. No one except short-track speed skaters has more authority on this than you. Your manual cornering can maximize your speed. Although the movement is slightly clumsy, your explosive power after cornering will be enhanced, and the enhancement is positively correlated with arm strength. You will be less likely to slip and less likely to injure your arms when manually cornering. Every 90 degrees of manual cornering is equivalent to one full rotation. Wow! It's working. Even the spinning top can be used. This skill is truly a blessing for short players. The pitch is actually quite slippery. When stopping and starting suddenly, players often stumble. At this time, the unique advantage of short players is that they can brace themselves with their hands. By using their palms to brace themselves, they can reduce the turning radius to a terrifying degree, shaking off any defender. November 26, UEFA Cup 4th round match. Sporting Lisbon and Rosenborg faced off for the second time. Quaresma crossed from the wing, and Ronaldo headed in at the far post. Viana played a through ball, and Drogba chased down the ball and unleashed a powerful shot into the net. The team won 2-0, easily defeating Rosenborg, who were unlucky without the referee's help. On November 29, in the 12th round of the Portuguese Primeira Liga, Sporting Lisbon challenged Alvaca. In the first half, Drogba demonstrated his pivot role, holding off defenders and providing an assist for Quaresma to cut inside and shoot with the outside of his foot. Beautiful, yes, but unfortunately, the king of the outside of the foot was someone else. At halftime, Ibrahimovic replaced Drogba, who had played in the European match midweek. Ibrahimovic was in superb form, with Viana and Duncan providing assists to help him, a substitute, complete his brace. The team ultimately won 3-0. On December 6, in the 13th round of the Portuguese Primeira Liga, Sporting Lisbon welcomed back an old friend. Moreirense. Last season, Cristiano Ronaldo and Duncan were the key players that allowed Moreirense to taste victory. However, so far this season, they are struggling in the bottom three and are likely to fall back to the Portuguese second division. Sporting Lisbon showed some consideration in this match. Duncan and Ronaldo scored early and didn't push for further goals. Quaresma scored and assisted. In the final moments, Matthias made a rash decision, assisting the hungry Drogba to score. Fortunately, Alex redeemed Moreirense's pride with a stunning long-range shot 4-1. Both sides got what they wanted. After the match, the players from both sides had a friendly dinner, with Duncan hosting Moreirense's teammates for dumplings. On December 10, In the fifth round of the UEFA Cup, Sporting Lisbon faced Anderlecht. These are currently the only two teams still with a chance to advance from the group stage. Sporting Lisbon has 4 draws in 4 matches, one more win would secure their advancement as group winners. Anderlecht faced fierce resistance from Turkish Super League teams, securing a draw and bringing their record to 3 wins and 1 draw. A draw in this match would have kept the suspense alive until the final round. Throughout the game, they effectively marked key players like Quaresma, Ronaldo, and Duncan. These 3 players have consistently been the team's most impressive performers in both league and European competitions. However, Anderlecht overlooked the fact that they are a multi-core team. Viana's seemingly mediocre statistics are predicated on 2 factors. First, while they may seem average compared to his counterpart Duncan, as a midfielder, are his 3 goals and 6 assists in the league and 1 goal and 1 assist in European competition really that bad? Absolutely not. Converted, that's roughly 7 or 8 goals and nearly 20 assists per season, a true midfield maestro. Second, Viana's position on the pitch is relatively deep, limiting his finishing ability. But when other players are quiet, Viana can undoubtedly step up. Viana was incredibly active in this match, receiving the most passes in the team thanks to his teammates' deliberate feeding of the ball. He didn't waste his teammates' possession. First, he assisted Drogba to break the deadlock. Then, he won a corner kick and delivered it, allowing Terry to kick the ball into the net amidst the chaos 2-0. Sporting Lisbon secured their place in the UEFA Cup knockout stage with 1 round to spare. Anderlecht will have to face a team eliminated from the Champions League 3rd place. This is going to be brutal. Because this year's Champions League 3rd place match is unprecedentedly fierce. Just hearing the list makes you feel like you're playing in the Champions League final, not the Europa League playoffs. La Liga giants Barcelona. Premier League powerhouse Liverpool. Serie A super team Inter Milan. Especially the last one, a super team boasting the €90 billion Vieri and the world's best player, Ronaldo. Oh. Ronaldo is injured, the most serious injury of his career. Jardel was called up to the Brazilian national team because of this. On December 13, in the 14th round of the Portuguese Primeira Liga, Sporting Lisbon faced another tough opponent, Rio Ave, another newly promoted team. However, compared to last year's Liga 1 champions, Moreirense, Rio Ave was clearly doing much better, having escaped the relegation zone. This somewhat illustrates the significant influence of Duncan and Ronaldo on Moreirense. In this match, Ronaldo, seemingly reminiscing, missed 2 one-on-one chances. Drogba, however, was in high spirits, scoring twice and exchanging goals with Ibrahimovic. Quaresma contributed a goal and an assist. Duncan provided a through-ball assist for Drogba. Drogba's goals are becoming increasingly simple, so simple that his 2 goals are hardly memorable. Sporting Lisbon easily defeated Rio Ave 3-0 with these 3 goals. On December 17, in the final round of the UEFA Cup group stage, Sporting Lisbon fielded a rotated lineup and started Drogba and Ibrahimovic. The result was disastrous. Absolutely no attacking efficiency whatsoever. Had it not been for Cristiano Ronaldo's last-minute, deadly long-range strike, the match would have ended in a draw. December 20, the last match before Christmas. Also Sporting Lisbon's last match before the winter break this year. Sporting Lisbon vs Maritimo. Chapter 300 halfway through. Both sides seemed to be in holiday mode in the first half, resulting in a lackluster performance. In the second half, after Trigueros subbed out Quaresma, the team's attitude picked up. Ultimately, a well-executed run between Duncan and Drogba led to a through ball into the penalty area, where Ronaldo won a penalty using his speed and converted it himself, securing a perfect end to the first half for the team. Sporting Lisbon became the Portuguese League winter transfer window champions. They had a perfect first half of the season. The data speaks for itself. After the first half, fans had a deeper impression of the club's players. For example, Pepe is impulsive and prone to disciplinary yellow cards. Terry is arguably the most stable player in the defense. Aside from not being a Sporting Lisbon player, he's perfect in every way. Barzagli is truly excellent value for money. Even players bought for €2 million wouldn't be as effective as him. Drogba and Ibrahimovic are truly evenly matched. It's difficult for fans to say who is worse. Of course, even Drogba's fans have to admit that while Drogba is the undisputed starting center forward, if you ask who has a brighter future between the 2 players, everyone would choose the undeniably talented Ibrahimovic. Mathos, De Champs and João Pinto are another story. They're three veterans, and it's proven that even fallen stars can still be stars. This is far better than a mere mediocre player like Paulo Bento. Viana fully embraced the rhythm of the Portuguese league, even carrying the team's midfield. In previous years, at 18, Viana was thriving in the Portuguese league, scoring 4 goals and providing 8 assists in half a season. Dazzling stats. Wasn't he a veritable Simeo midfielder? 15 million euros is a bit pricey, but 10 million for Barcelona would be a steal. But times have changed. Viana's stats in the past would have been phenomenal, even comparable to Quaresma last year. But not this year. Because Sporting Lisbon has its youngest and strongest attacking trio ever. Cristiano Ronaldo scored 15 goals in 15 league matches, making him the undisputed top scorer in the team. He also scored 6 goals in 6 European matches, averaging 1 goal per game, incredibly consistent 21 goals in half a season. That's Ronaldo's record. Almost as many goals he scored in half a season in the Portuguese second division. He truly turned the Portuguese Super League into the Portuguese second division. Viana, really? Then let's look at Ronaldo's assists. Ahem. A perfectly good striker, what's the point of talking about assists? 0 assists. That's really a bit outrageous. You might not believe it, but Ronaldo played 21 matches across both competitions, and his assists were indeed 0. Ronaldo himself is quite helpless about this. If he can score, he will. If he can't, even if he passes to his teammates, it's unlikely they'll score either. Unlike Quaresma, Ronaldo's opportunities are often absolute chances. He doesn't need to pass, he just needs to score. When it's a one-on-one situation, passing is truly unnecessary. Maybe 2 out of 10 one-on-one situations would be better if you passed, but 8 out of 10 would only make the situation worse. Cristiano Ronaldo lacks finesse in this area, so as Deng Kai said, he simply doesn't try to control the shot and just shoots, the easiest thing to do. The second member of Sporting Lisbon's attacking trident is naturally Quaresma, who partners with Ronaldo. In 16 league matches, he scored 13 goals and provided 8 assists. In 6 European matches, he scored 1 goal and provided 6 assists. In total, he scored 14 goals and provided 14 assists in 21 matches over half a season. 14 and 14. Aside from being unlucky, there's almost nothing wrong with that. This statistic already equals Quaresma's entire year's total last year. And last year, Quaresma was already considered a player surpassing Simeo because of those stats. If he finishes this season, Figo should consider giving way to Quaresma. How much did Barcelona offer Quaresma this summer? 7 million euros. Now you have to multiply that by 3. 20 million euros is Sporting Lisbon's bottom line for Quaresma. He is undoubtedly a more outstanding and formidable winger than Simeo. Stronger and younger. Barcelona is furious. They spent a fortune bringing in players from Arsenal this summer, but it's no use. Overmars cost Barcelona a whopping 36 million euros. If they had just given Quaresma a little more playing time back then, they would have made a profit. It's all the fans' fault for taking their anger out on Portuguese players because of Figo. Now they realize Portuguese players are better and they're asking what to do. Since we've mentioned 2, it's time to introduce the hilt of Sporting Lisbon's all-time strongest attacking trident, or rather, the king of the trident. Without a doubt, it's Deng Kai. 7 goals and 12 assists in the league, unremarkable. 5 goals and 4 assists in European competitions, low-key. 12 goals and 16 assists in the first half of the season. Quaresma, he creates the same goals as me, so how come he's better? Deng Kai, his goal-assist ratio is perfectly aligned with the golden ratio, more scientific and nutritious than a 50-50 split. Milk powder needs a golden ratio. That said, in terms of the team's regular attacking importance, Quaresma is actually more crucial. However, Deng Kai's attacking prowess was outstanding. If every goal and assist were ranked in terms of its impact on the game, then Deng Kai's 28 goal contributions would be scored higher than Quaresma's. This is why he's considered the king of the attackers. But then again, they're all on the same team, there's no seniority or ranking system. They're still a harmonious group. So, at Deng Kai's suggestion, he stood in the center for a group photo of the first half. This photo will be used in various promotional materials. There are versions: a team version, Deng Kai in the center; a solo version, Deng Kai in the center; a trident version, Deng Kai in the center; and a 5-man version, with 2 more center forwards, Deng Kai in the center. Cristiano Ronaldo suggested that, being taller, he should be in the center of the trident version. Quaresma also argued that being the oldest, it was reasonable for him to be in the center. However, Deng Kai rejected both suggestions. Deng Kai's original words were, "You two are positioned on the left and right sides of the field. It's a sin for either of you to change your position. Let me play in the middle, midfielder, the middle part of the name. Cristiano Ronaldo, I've played center forward before, I can do it. Deng Kai, you're just playing. Quaresma, I've also played center forward. Deng Kai, that's called playing without a striker. Drogba, there's a center forward here, how about I play? Deng Kai, you haven't scored in over 10 rounds and you still dare to ask? Ibrahimovic, Zlatan has always been the center. Deng Kai, everyone here is a starter, substitutes shouldn't talk." In fact, Deng Kai wouldn't argue with his teammates about the center position. The key is, it's unnecessary. How many people will see a Sporting Lisbon team promotional poster? My boss, Deng Kai, has had 3 consecutive men attend the Ballon d'Or ceremony, you know? That's right. This year's Ballon d'Or ceremony, Deng Kai received an invitation again. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all, see you in the next video.